But Fired Up Frankie's fantastic. I mean, this is still going to be the best podcast. I don't have to do anything.
Four players on Barstool Sports. We got myself, Dan, and Frankie. Trent's train's running a little late, so he'll be here. We kind of got a full slate today. There's a shit ton of stuff to talk about. I got to go in about 50 minutes for a little Barstool Classic. We're at TBC Boston. Tiger Woods won there. So excited to see pictures of him in the clubhouse. It's always a highlight. We got our Ryder Cup gear on. We've been teasing this stuff for the last week or so. The Ryder Cup merch collaboration with the PGA of America is off the chart. Some of the best stuff I've ever seen. We're going to be releasing this in the next couple weeks. Speaking of Ryder Cup, we got some wild drama coming. We got Dan's back from Africa. I'm probably the most hungover person in the world, but I'm ready to rock. I had my hotel AC was set for 62 degrees last night, and I was just profusely sweating through the entire night in the coldest room of all time. So, I yesterday took, after about a 5-day bender at Big Cedar Lodge, which might be the most fun place in the history of the world. Had a couple grindy flights. Had to go fly from Missouri to Denver and then Denver to Boston. And then by the time I got in, it was just, it was, the scaries were so bad. Every time there was, that was my 65th flight of the year. And every time there was turbulence, I just was like, we're going down. There's no way this plane can make it through what's going on right now. So it was a lot of action, but got my way through the night. Watched a couple documentaries last night because I couldn't actually sleep. That were actually fantastic. I watched the Jake Paul one. And I watched the Johnny Manziel one. They're both really good. Have you guys watched those?
I have not yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched either of them. I've been meaning to. I've been saving a lot of the content for when I got back. I tried to go into the wild when I was in Africa, tried to kind of check out. By day 8, Emma had to physically remove me from my phone because I was just completely locked in on the FedEx Championship. I discovered that I think 7 days is a hard max for me for vacation. After 7 days, I was going crazy to the point where she's like, oh, why can't you just check out? I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I'm not having fun. Like, you don't, that sounds bad. I was having fun, but it's like, all I can think about is work. Like me standing and looking at this lion is like, all I'm thinking about is if Justin Thomas is going to make the Ryder Cup team. Like, I don't know what you want to change my brain. I don't know. So last week was difficult. My journey back, I'll kind of raise you with the flight situation. We took 3 bush planes from the bush to get to Mount Kilimanjaro Airport. Bush planes are basically, there's one propeller in the front. That's all you got. There's like 7 seats. They're commercial flights, but there's probably like 10 people on them. And you just stop at different airstrips. And the airstrips don't have pavement. They're just
Were you guys in Antarctica? How do you take 3
So we were in the northern Serengeti.
3 flights, you can go around the earth like 2 times. I think if you took
they were each like 30 minutes. So we started in like the western part of the Serengeti, then we went to the middle part of the Serengeti, then the northern part of the Serengeti, and then to Kilimanjaro. Then I had a 9-hour layover in the Kilimanjaro airport, which was basically just a room, but I managed to get the PGA Tour event on, so that was huge. That was absolutely huge.
Nice. That's insane.
Then a 9.5-hour flight to Istanbul, 7-hour layover in the Istanbul airport. Very nice lounge. Turkish Airlines, great airline. Love Turkish Airlines. No complaints with Turkish Airlines. Took a shower in the lounge, which is always a game changer. Then 10 hours to New York. Got home at 2 a.m. last night, and here we are. So in total, we did the math. It was 42 hours. 42 hours to get back from the northern part of the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania.
That's a joke.
To Dumbo in Brooklyn. But we're back. And I feel so good to be back at work.
That just can't be worth it. There's just no way that many flights. I don't know if I take that many flights to play in the Masters tournament. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was like, my parents were with us on the trip, and it was like they paid for everything. So you can't say like, you can't be like, you're in a tough spot. You can't say, what were you thinking with this trip? Because they're like, fuck you. We paid for everything. You got this incredible trip to go to Africa. But the entire time, Emma and I are looking at each other like, the amount of money I would pay to just teleport back to my apartment right now. So it was an all-time battle, but we're back. What's up, Trent? Trent has just made it.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Fantastic. We're always talking about travel issues. I didn't get to say my travel issues. I feel like this is a travel issue podcast
show
now. It's a travel issue podcast.
I'm here
have
for
travel
it.
issues. I mean, I'm
fucking here for it.
I went from New York to Alabama to Atlanta to Toronto all in one day. Never thought I'd make that route. And from Alabama to Toronto, they just sent my bags to Detroit. So, which I say Detroit, and a couple of my buddies always call me out on that. I'm going to start saying Detroit. I don't know why.
Detroit.
I do not know why I put an emphasis on the Detroit.
It feels like 8 Mile. It's like some respect.
Yeah, it's like
Detroit.
It's weird. I've always said Detroit, like Detroit Rock City or something. I don't know why I want to do that all the time.
Like
so that's something I'm working on personally.
For some reason,
like I said, I thought about it yesterday to stop saying Detroit, and I just came on this podcast and said Detroit.
It's Detroit. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the letters, it's DE. So you're saying it potentially correctly, but I've always heard Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same. Like Dechair. Dylan Dechair.
Yeah, so that just like I asked like Delta why they did that, and they said they didn't know. So I mean, that was.
I was going to ask if you were going to oust the airline because I know they're your favorite airline. So sometimes
I love Delta, but they were just like, yeah, we have no idea why. And then it wasn't so bad. They sent it to Toronto. I picked it up when I went to the airport. And I was going home that day anyway, so it was like it wasn't the biggest deal, but it was frustrating. Like doing that type of travel, getting to your hotel room at 2:30, not having any bags. Not anything being open in Toronto except for this place called Shoppers Mart that was like 19-minute Uber away from our hotel. I had to go. I had to get stuff. The Uber driver had to wait outside for me. I had to get a bunch of stuff, and then I had to come back in. And then I'm in my room at 3 a.m. and the wake up was 5:30 for the Classic. So that was just tough, like not having anything.
Yeah.
And then screaming all day at the Barstool Classic. But it's been great. Toronto, I do love Toronto. I think it's a great city. Beautiful. I saw for like 6 seconds as the sun was rising at 5:30 in the morning. I had an amazing view overlooking all of the water, and then from the other side of the room, I could see the CN Tower. It was nice.
Yeah, Toronto's like got a real. Did you see the Blue Jay Stadium's right there? It kind of feels like walkable. Yeah, It's pretty fucking awesome. I ordered Chinese food at 2 a.m. last night after we got back because I was just after a 40-hour trip and after eating just beef on beef on beef on beef the entire 2 weeks. All I wanted was some fucking Kung Pao chicken, so I got it last night. I'm paying for it this morning, but it was worth it in the moment.
Yeah, no, that's a good move. The airlines, I will say, with the bags and all that, when it's handled properly, you can get over it. It's when they look at you like you're in the wrong, and then they just give you nothing. They just look at you like they got nothing. That's when it gets infuriating. But sometimes they recover nicely, and it's okay.
Foreplay is presented by Chevrolet. Chevy, we absolutely love Chevy and everything they are doing with the electric vehicle game. They've been in that electric vehicle game for over 10 years, so they have the knowledge and skills to sell or service any Chevy EV. With a nationwide dealer network, Chevrolet has over 1,900 certified EV dealerships. That's over 5,550 EV trained technicians. It is true that you have less routine maintenance on electric vehicles, but if you do need maintenance on your Chevy EV, they have technicians that are EV certified, so you don't have to worry about that. The nationwide dealership is a true value to consumers because they are there for you with any electrical vehicle question that you may have. It's an amazing time that we are living in, that Chevy is the leading brand in electric vehicles with everything that they've been through, all the cars, over 100 years in business, that now they have really jumped in deep into this new EV game. Like I said, for over 10 years, it's been an amazing ride, and I cannot even imagine the stuff that they're going to be coming out with in the future. So learn more at chevy.com/electric. That's chevy.com/electric.
We got a lot on the you guys talked about it last show, but Dave Portnoy bought back Barstool Sports from Penn, so we're just no longer a Penn company at all. We're just a Barstool company. Dave owns us like he did. Actually, I don't think I've ever worked at Barstool when Dave's owned 100% of the company.
No.
Nope. We talked about that last time. I did for the first couple of years, and then the Chernin deal happened, and the New York move happened. So I had it for the first couple of years, but it's been a while.
I am. I don't know if nervous is the right word, but I did not exist. I haven't existed at Barstool outside of the Penn situation, outside of corporate Barstool. So this is bad. Everyone's saying we're going back to this. It's all new for me. I feel like we're doing a good enough job where we're kind of a self-sustaining ship, but I definitely have my head over my shoulder more than I did probably a month ago.
Somebody asked me the other day, we were in Toronto, and we were talking with a couple of the guys that work on the Barstool Classic, Peter and Kyle. We were sitting around just talking about the deal and everything that's happening. And they were like, yeah, we're huge Stoolies. And like, we've always like craved that old Barstool feeling. I feel like in the new New York office didn't have it. They've been working for Penn. for the pen acquisition time of Barstool, just like Danny. And really, they were like, what did it used to be like? Like what are we to expect? Like, what's that difference? And I said, the only real difference is fear. Like, that's really the only thing it was missing is fear. Like a ton of fear about getting brought in on radio and Dave taking a video of you not being in the office at 9:01 a.m. And that's literally the sauce. Like, if any other media company wants to really just like get that Barstool magic, it's just like unfiltered, nonstop, overflowing amount of deathly fear.
Imagine the new ESPN CEO comes into his office and he's like, "Where the fuck are you, Stephen A. Smith? Like, it's 10 a.m."
I mean, it propels everything. It makes better content. It makes people work harder. It brings like all the drama into the office. It's only just fear. Like, if I wrote a book about Barstool, I think it might be just called Fear. That is what makes it tick. Dave's always been like that. Think back to the best moments in Barstool. It's him yelling at people or challenging someone that said something stupid. That's like, I can throw a football 100 yards. No, you can't. If you can't, I'm going to put you on the internet. I'm going to call you a fucking idiot and a fucking moron, weird haircut, Seth. Like, everything's about like that feeling in your stomach and your chest, and you have to swallow down the puke as you're getting brought in. I mean, one of the better moments of last week was like Smitty coming into radio and the guy's like blood vessels were popping out of his neck and he was slamming a baseball bat in the ground, fighting for his family and his life. That was the content. That's the content. There's no like new video series that comes out. There's no like creative idea. It's just survive and we're going to brutally destroy you until you don't. So that's the sauce. And I fucking love it. My blood and my heart doesn't tick unless that stuff happens. It's been too easy. I've been waking up, just fucking floating around the world. And then the next day, Dave buys it. I'm in the Barstool radio producer room and no mics are on. No, Dave Portnoy sits down in the radio room and his mic is off and I'm like screaming at people. There's a guy in there with a fidget spinner because he has too much stress in the room. He's just, Riggs, you don't understand. This guy was spinning something and I'm screaming at him. I'm like, turn Dave's mic on. He goes, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And he walked out of the room. He walked out of the room. He left the room. I was like, your room is crumbling right now. I went out and I got All Business Pete. And I go, are you fucking kidding me? My biggest stress for the last 2 years was why couldn't I hit a 54-degree low-flighted wedge to 17 feet from the fucking pin? And now I got to worry about Dave Portnoy's microphone as he announces that he bought Barstool Sports back is on. Come on, man.
And a subset of that fear is you get more reminders that you don't matter. Which, like Dan said, we got a good thing going. We're profitable. We got a lot of things going on. We sell a lot of stuff. But it'll still, as soon as you feel comfortable, the hammer will come down on you. And that is a reminder that hasn't been there the last couple of years. Like, we can sell out the Classic in 2 minutes. We can sell out a pickleball thing in 10 seconds. We can sell the most merch. We can put out videos that get 500,000 views. And as soon as you start to be like, oh, we're doing all right, Dave will be like, you're useless. And it's Frankie's right. It's a fear that keeps this place ticking. I love it as well, as much as it makes my insides burn and I feel bile in my throat when I think about it. I love that feeling because when I got hired here so many moons ago, that's the fire that I loved, and it's back now.
My favorite version of that fear was when I was just checking in throughout the end of last week, and Dave put out a video at like 6:30 p.m. on like a Thursday, and you guys were just all sitting around the office, just like refusing to leave. Being like, oh yeah, we're just what we do every day. Out. We're grinding late into the night.
I'll sleep in this office. That's what it brings back. I will fucking sleep in this office if that's what I have to do, and that's where we're back there now.
Just refusing for no reason other than fear to leave before Dave Portnoy leaves the office. I was like, I remember those days. So yeah, we're owned by Dave Portnoy again, which is amazing. I think for us, we're independently owned now. We're not. There's all these regulations and hoops we were jumping through, and we were learning about new stuff and HR. And Dave's throwing away HR. You're not allowed to narc on people. It's just a little bit of the old West is back, the wild, wild West, and that's fantastic. That's kind of what we were all built on. We're all pretty OG. I would say Trent definitely more so than us, and we weren't in the Milton office, but those early days of HQ2 in New York, that's when all of us were hired. It's when all of us kind of got to New York and started mingling with everybody. So we kind of remember those days, and you're right, it's just fear. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens. All right, Frankie, did you have a birthday?
I did. I had a nice little birthday weekend. Had people. I think my neighbors hate us. I think that's official. Had like 20 something people over in the backyard. It was a late one till 4:00 in the morning, and then the family came over. And you think that'd be like way more subdued and just like completely quiet. But they surprised me with hibachi. So that's 2 years in a row that I had hibachi in the backyard. Hibachi guy came. My dad's here. Hannah's dad's here. They're going crazy. Karaoke machine came out. 1:00 in the morning. Basically, people are singing karaoke. And my dad's trying to hit high notes. I'm like, Dad, if you really think about what you're doing right now, you're just screaming into a microphone, not hitting any notes. And people don't even hear the music like down the block. They just hear your voice traveling through a very quiet late night air. And I was like, think about the last note you just tried to hit and how loud that traveled. It's just like, I don't care. And he got in the hot tub and like smoked a cigar. So that was a crazy one last night. I'm definitely feeling it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Rick.
Happy birthday.
So my sister-in-law, they got me. Look at this.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm ready to rock. They saw how much I enjoyed what you were doing, and they couldn't wait. And they ended up getting me. So they got me, like, they started me off, and they got a lot of cool ones. Barn Boogle's on there. They sent a bunch of emails out.
No
Brittany
way.
was like sending out. So I have this bag downstairs, and it's amazing, man. Like, it all came in little envelopes, and everyone from every single golf course wrote a little note in there, like about how much they love it. Like Aaron Hills, Barn Boogle from Australia. I mean, like every single golf course. Pinehurst sent a bunch of stuff. Like they sent balls and markers and the links to Spanish Bay, Pebble Beach. I mean, Shinnecock. They put Butters Bay and Knives Creek on here, which was pretty cool, actually.
Oh, that's cool.
Insane.
That's cool.
So I can't wait. Now I have to change my mind to put a pencil in my pocket or my bag because I always leave them in the cart.
Impossible.
How the fuck am I going to remember?
Even since I started doing this, I forget them all the time whenever you go. And then I guess that's probably the move is to have people send stuff, and they might. But isn't it incredible? That should not be as fun as it is to just put pencils in that little case, but it's amazingly fun.
It's actually kind of like I'm almost mad I have it now because now I want it to be perfect where it's like every top golf course I ever played. And there might be some that we'll never play again. Like, I don't know, like a Sage Valley. Like I need that. I need that golf course. I need to get back to the ones that we had. Like, I don't know. It's just now I feel like my brain's going to be running crazy every time I look at it. Be like, well, it's got these, but it doesn't have this pencil. It doesn't have that pencil.
I do it with ball markers with like the poker chip ones. I think the key is doing it at the beginning of the round. You're not going to remember at the end. Maybe you have a few drinks, whatever you're wanting to get out of there. Before you tee off, you need to go in there, grab a pencil, and put it in the golf bag and just get it out of the way before you even tee off.
Yeah, I think that's the move. Dan, anything else on Africa? You want to just talk about your Africa trip in general, or is the 42-hour flight is kind of the?
No, I'm fine. Nature is crazy. I sent a video to our producers, and I'll send it to you guys if you want.
Sure.
We saw a lion kill I wouldn't say a baby, but a juvenile zebra, like right in front of our eyes, and it was really cool. It was sort of beautiful in a way. The sound that the zebra was making as it was being, the life was being squeezed out of its neck by 3 lions was something that is seared into my memory forever. It was the worst noise I've ever heard in my life. It was a zebra, and all the other zebras were watching. That's the worst part, because there's these big herds of zebras. The lion goes and he takes one, and the other zebras are just standing there watching. Me personally, if I saw my child being,
why don't they run?
No, they don't run. They're standing like a good distance away, but the lions are so preoccupied. Yeah, but it's like you'd think that they would run, number one, for safety. You'd think that they would run, number two, to not watch their child become slowly murdered and become meat for these lions. But no, they just stand there and watch the entire time as the baby zebra pleads for its life. The lions obviously don't give a shit, and the zebras are just standing there watching. So I don't want to say PTSD because that's a very serious thing, but it's something that I will think about for a very long time. My 2 takeaways for the trip were nature is crazy, and 12 days is just the internet has ruined my brain. The internet ruined my brain.
Horrible, Dan. I feel like
it was a great trip. It was a great trip. There was no air conditioning in the tents, so it was a little bit hot. It was nice to get into the. It was nice to get. There was no. You couldn't choose what you wanted for meals. It was just, this is what we're serving for dinner tonight. So if you didn't like that, I'm a pretty picky eater, so that was kind of difficult. It was definitely
just a cons list from the trip, or is there a pros list from the trip? Like, it feels like you're just
the pros list for
checking
the trip
things off that you hate.
I took some really cool pictures. I think I'm a camera guy now. I got a proper camera. That was awesome. Not as good as the pictures that you could just like find on Google if you Google like here's a lion, and they have better pictures online. The sunsets were really, really nice. So were the sunrises. Emma and I got some nice one-on-one time for the first 5 days until all I could start thinking about was Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram by about day 6. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. And 12 days is just way too long. It's just way too long. I can't do that anymore. I cannot.
So you guys were in a car, just like watching that slaughter happening. I mean, how far were you? And at any point were you nervous for your life if that lion just turns its attention onto you guys? Like,
no, because you're in a Jeep that's huge, and like the lions are not gonna try to, unless you get out of it. They don't view you as people, but they view you as this Jeep, which is like the biggest thing they've ever seen. So we were driving around. And you have a guide, and the guide's like, "Oh man, there's a female who's crouching, and the crouching, I guess, is like that's like the hunting stage, or that she was crouching in this little ditch, and you could see these zebras like walking, and you could tell the zebras couldn't see the lion, and so we're standing there for about 6 or 7 minutes as the zebras are kind of getting closer, and the lion's standing there, the females do the hunting mostly, and as soon as it started running." The guy took the car. Do you want me to send you guys the video? I mean, I'll send you the video. You guys can watch it. It's really, really graphic. All right, I'll send it in the group chat right now.
Yeah, I would.
We saw the whole thing. We saw the whole thing.
That's got to be pretty rare, right? When you go on one of these things,
it is rare. To see a kill actually happen is pretty damn rare. A lot of times it happens like first thing in the morning or at dusk. But yeah, we saw it happen. I'm sending you this video. I'm excited to see your guys. I want to hear Trent's analysis of this sound because it is, like I said, it's the worst sound I've ever heard in my life.
It does sound, it's so perfect that it feels almost a little Westworld to me, where they're like, oh my gosh, you're never ever going to see a kill, and you just so happen to see a herd of zebras and a crouching female lion. It's like, that feels pretty perfect. Like, I feel like every time they go out, they're like, this is super rare.
There's definitely a lot of the underselling, over delivering. They're like, I don't know if we're going to see, the wildebeest cross the river, and then like 7 minutes into the trip, the wildebeest cross the river. They're like, oh my God, you guys are the luckiest people of all time, because they definitely work on tips. So I think they want you to feel like you got, this unbelievable experience. But listen, under promise, over deliver. Big fan of that in life. If you're playing a golf course, you want them to tell you, hey, the course is not in good shape. You go up there, you're like, this course is great. You don't want them to tell you, oh, everything's perfect. And then you're going to have the high expectations.
It reminds me a little bit when we went to Australia and we were like, God, I just hope we could see a kangaroo. Like, I don't know if that's crazy rare or what the deal is. And then, like, when we went look for them, we just saw like 800 kangaroo running around this field, and they were all over the place. And we actually got scared they were going to run us over and take us out because they're very menacing and mean. But nature is, you can't really fuck with nature. That's the main thing you realize when you're out there.
It's like there's a reason that people go to Australia to see kangaroos, because like you see kangaroos when you go to Australia. There's a reason that people go to Africa to see lions. It's like, you're going to see some lions. Did you guys get this video yet? Did it come through?
Oh, I don't know. Let me look.
Fuck, dude.
I think we got it.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Shit, man.
Oh
man.
Fuck, bro. I'm not listening to that.
That's horrific.
Oh no, not today. No, that's tough.
Look at how deadpan they are, and they just don't care. They're just eating this thing.
Fuck.
They got to eat, but it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I mean that's the way the world works.
That's
right?
a circle of life. That's Lion King, right? They didn't show that part in Lion King, but that's a part of it.
Yeah, it was. We say there we watched them eat the guts, which you don't really see on planet Earth. It was something.
There's there's no humanity to it, right? They don't like make sure it's dead before they start eating it out of care of like that's going to be a bad experience for the zebra. They're just like we're just going to eat now. And
yeah, they start ripping out from like the butthole. They start like opening up from there because I guess it's like the easiest place to open it. So they break the legs and open it up, and then all the stomach guts fall out, and they start like eating that. Yeah, listen. There's nothing pretty about it. They don't cook it. Like they just start eating it.
I mean, that's we do it. I just like take a lobster, just boil it, and then just like crack it open and just like eat out its legs and its fucking claws, and and they say that like lobsters like want to get out of the boiling water. You ever hear that they have like consciousness?
Well, that was David Foster Wallace thing.
Yeah, consider the lobster. That's exactly right. Yeah, they feel pain. They absolutely feel pain. Turns out the squeaking is pain.
Right.
They're like, and when you put them in, their claws are like trying to grab the edges.
We're just
of
like,
the pot.
Like, just hold on. Just let me get your claw in there. So
for the most part, we humans have cut that. We've cut that part out where the butcher does it or whoever gets the meat does it, and it just arrives on our plate. But there are still parts like the seafood you're talking about that we take charge and things happen. So
if we had this conversation with the shape I was in yesterday, I think I would have just puked everywhere and not like I wouldn't have been able to handle you guys right now. I would have had to just leave. I would have had to leave the situation.
Wherever life takes you next and whoever you're looking to be, there's a car for that on cars.com. I just turned 30, which I think is like, that's who I feel like I'm just entering a new form of who I am and who I'm looking to be. Is that right, Trent? I mean, you turned 30. It's like a whole new clean slate. You're in a new decade.
Yeah, clean slate is a good way to put it. Your 20s are gone. Your life is going to be different in your 30s, but I don't think it's different in a bad way. I think it can be different in a good way. Clean slate is always good.
And and that has to do with everything in your life, your house, your job, and more specifically, your car. So whether you're moving from the suburbs to the city, you want a smaller, sportier car, you want a bigger car, you're going out into the farmland. All of these things are going to be different. All those decisions are going to come into play, and you have to go to cars.com because that's where you need to be. Maybe you're expanding your family, you want a safer option, taking up snowboarding, need more cargo space. Like I said, all these decisions, they all are going to be coming at you like 100 miles an hour. Cars.com is where you need to be. They have deal badges that identify the best deals on cars.com. They have quick and easy ways to sell or trade in your car with over 2 million cars for 2 million possibilities to meet your changing needs. Up to 50,000 cars are added daily to cars.com. That's an absurd number. 50,000 cars are added daily to cars.com. So you'll never have to not find a car that you are going to end up buying or selling. Find your next possibility on cars.com. Where to next? Cars.com.
How was Big Cedar?
It was awesome. It's I mean, I know we were there last year. We did the whole trip, put the videos out, and then you kind of go and you travel around the world and you like forget a little bit, and then when you're just back there, it's like that guy Johnny Morris, who's the Bass Pro Shop guy that funds the whole thing, and they say he's there all the time, and he's like always looking at the fine touches and everything. It is really amazing how he just spared no expense and did not miss a single thing there. From every fireplace, there's like a sneaky fireplace out back of the clubhouse at Ozarks National that has like engraved in the front of the fireplace like grate on the front, like this golf club with like Ozarks National. It looks like it's been there since like it's been from like a castle. It's been there for 500 years, and it's just the whole property is that way. The golf courses are unbelievable. They're building another par 3 on top of Payne's Valley, basically. When you go to that first tee and you kind of go down the hill a little bit, you see the course out to the right for the first time, and it's all like they're just building a sick par 3 course on the edge of the cliff right there that's going to overlook Payne's Valley. Even the halfway house that they have at Payne's is off the charts. It's got its own logo that's separate than any other logo. So just the whole thing, top to bottom, was a hilarious experience. We did the Top of the Rock, that place. We had that amazing dinner that one night where they brought like what do they bring, like a lamb or something that was like spinning around in front of us, and we went to that restaurant again, had one of the best meals ever. So it was amazing. We had 12 of us. First time I went from 8 to 12. All my best buddies from pretty much elementary school, including my brother. We all played hockey together forever. Now everybody's into golf. So getting that whole crew together, which we really don't get the whole crew together more than like once a year, maybe a couple times a year. So getting everybody together, playing golf, it was just it was insanely fun. We had a fantastic time. Our team won. We were victorious, which was nice. There was a lot of drinking out of the trophy. So yeah, that place, I can't recommend Big Cedar Lodge enough. We stayed in one of those big 4-bedroom cottages with the pool. Like the pool was getting a lot of action. The sunset views out there by that little fire pit. It was just it was like the whole point. We say it a lot when we talk about going to shows, concerts, seeing them, whatever. It was like, that's the whole point that you work. And that's what we kept saying throughout the whole trip. It's like the whole reason that you do everything in life, whenever you're grinding, you're stressing, is to be able to do what we got to do last week. And it just delivered. Big Cedar Lodge is awesome. So yeah, we had an amazing time. All right. We got some talking points to get to. Phil Mickelson. I know, I believe this broke after you guys did the show last week in terms of the gambling, or was that?
Yep.
Yeah. So the Billy Walters book that's going to be coming out, that's been rumored to be coming out for years. I think it has to go through like legal review and then continues to get stuff redacted. But now we're seeing, I think it was our boys at the Fire Pit Collective that put out a pretty good excerpt from it. And it's pretty, it's fucking fascinating about Phil Mickelson and his gambling habits. A couple of the key takeaways were that he's wagered over $1 billion, which is, I mean, over
a big number.
$1 billion is a hilarious number. I mean, you need to make $2 billion to be able to have $1 billion to spend after taxes and all that. Now, when you do wager and you win some of it back, like you can wager it again. So it's not necessarily that he just had $1 billion slush fund, but the fact that he's placed over $1 billion total dollars in wagers is one of the more shocking numbers that I ever saw. And then maybe the most kind of scathing part of it was him allegedly calling Billy Walters, saying he wanted to bet on the 2012 Ryder Cup. He wanted to bet $400,000 on the U.S. to win the Ryder Cup. Billy Walters said that he said to him, like, are you crazy? You know what happened to Pete Rose? You have this great image, an Arnold Palmer type guy. Like, there's no way you can do that. Phil apparently opted out and decided not to do that. He tweeted out that he never bet on the Ryder Cup, but just the fact that he was considering putting $400,000 on the Ryder Cup, the whole deal was just fucking, we expected a lot. The fact that Phil is that into it, like, almost makes me feel bad for the guy that he's like that addicted to gambling.
Yeah, I think that's the takeaway. He already came out and said, this was an addiction that I've worked on. I thought it was also a little strange that there was that clip that went viral like last week of him talking with Bryson DeChambeau, which was kind of like glorifying his gambling again. Remember, he's like, "What are we playing for, Bryson?" Bryson's like, "I don't know. All right, let's play $2,000." It's like, okay, like, are we going to say that this is an addiction that I need help for, or are we going to kind of advertise this on YouTube? So I thought that was kind of the timing was a little weird. His units seemed to be 110,000. That's his unit. I thought the specificity with which, Walters kept the receipts. This guy was his bookie. So he had 1,100 bets of over 110,000, over 850 of 220,000 to win 200,000. And the other thing I'll say is I thought his statement in response was very funny. He didn't say, "I never tried to bet on the Ryder Cup." He never said, like, these numbers are wrong. He just goes, "I did not bet on the Ryder Cup," which is true. If Billy Walters' story is true, then he didn't bet on the Ryder Cup. He tried to bet on the Ryder Cup, but he didn't. He didn't say, "I didn't try to bet on the Ryder Cup." Betting on your own team is obviously way less bad than betting on the other team. It doesn't really bother me that much. The irony is that they lost that Ryder Cup. But yeah, just kind of details. It's always worse when you dig a little bit. It's bad when you say you have a gambling addiction. It's worse when your bookie comes out with the receipts and says he bet $200,000, over 850 times. But I didn't feel like it changed my view of Phil Mickelson or anything. And I think if anything, the people like Big Cat, the people like Hank were like, this is sick. This guy's a baller. So I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing for him PR wise.
Yeah, that was my takeaway, is that he didn't really deny it.
No.
I think the first part of it was, he denied the Ryder Cup thing, but then the rest of it was like, everybody knows I love a wager. Yeah. I think that was part of it. It's like, yeah, dude. And I agree.
But why is that bad?
No, I don't, I'm not saying, well, I'm not saying that it is. This is like the Michael Jordan thing where they talk about his gambling and he says that, like, I can still pay my rent. I can still do all these things. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing.
He can spend it on gambling, or he can spend it on assorted chocolates for his
watches and gambling. He could at least win it back.
Right.
The only thing is that they would maybe say, and I'm not even saying that I agree with this, is that it glorifies it to a point where people are like, "Oh, I love that. I want to do that," and then they end up getting in over their head. Phil Mickelson is a guy who has the means to do this.
Right.
So,
I want to make $2 billion and spend $1 billion of it. Like, that's a good thing to actually aspire to do.
It's almost like Riggs was talking about with the Big Cedar thing, where you work so hard to do what you love, and Phil Mickelson loves a wager. He likes betting when he plays. He likes betting on sports. Betting on your own sport, you get into a bit of a tricky territory.
For sure.
I understand that. But like, I don't know. It's not. I would say his reputation is safe. Like nobody sees this and feels one way or the other. If you hated Phil Mickelson, you're like, this guy's a piece of shit. He tried to bet on the Ryder Cup. If you love Phil Mickelson, you're like, that's my guy. He's a cowboy. He's out there. Let's put it all on the line. Let's play for it. Let's do it. I think nothing changes.
Man, Phil's gone through a lot these last couple of years. And it's like, it almost feels like everyone has something out for him for some reason. He's for sure a scummy, did weird things, did bad things to his family, and there's all these things that come out about it. Has the guy really been that bad to deserve this type of like public shaming that he's had over the last 2 years with the live stuff? Now the fact that we live in just like a politically correct live world now, like everyone Jersey Jerry was there playing with Trump and like no one cares anymore. Nobody cares about it. Like, if you don't care about him much, so like he's been like slaughtered. He's the zebra.
Well, here's the thing. If you're an asshole your whole career, people don't forget. And people who you're an asshole to will bring it back on you. That's the thing. Like he's an asshole. That's what people say. Like Phil Mickelson, for everything that he is, front facing, he's thumbs up. I'm great. I'm a great golfer. But then we have heard that he has asshole tendencies. And if you're an asshole for 30 years, you're going to make a few enemies. And those enemies are going to come back at you publicly if they can.
And the enemies have been in the media. I think it's
right.
important to make a distinction of if you go to a golf tournament, people don't hate Phil Mickelson
at
all. He's still like one of the 5 most popular guys out there. So I think a lot of this is the golf media saying he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. Yeah. I don't think the average Joe. I think the average Joe thinks he was right, which he was right. The headlines being that he bet on the Ryder Cup, you're burying the lead there. He bet on his own team. It just doesn't bother me that much.
And he tried to.
Yeah, if you bet on the
people
other
try
team,
and do the wrong thing, and their buddy's like, "Nah, you probably shouldn't do that." And then the conversation's over. Why is that a headline? I don't understand why that's a big story. This guy is just doing whatever he wants with his money. He talked with his bookie and was like, "I want to place his bet." And the guy's like, "I don't think you should." And he's like, "All right, I'm done. I won't do it." Like,
well, and then
that's assuming he didn't take his action somewhere else, but that's speculation.
And there was Rory. They asked Rory McIlroy about it, and his response was, "Oh, at least he can bet on the Ryder Cup this year because he won't be a part of it." Rory,
that response sucked.
Pick on someone your own age, dude. Phil Mickelson is 53. He's won a major more recently than you won a major. He finished second in the Masters this year. He played in 12 straight Ryder Cups. Like, are you going to say, "Oh, Tom Watson, he can bet on the Ryder Cup"? He's 53 years old. He's not supposed to be in the Ryder Cup this year. So if you're going to pick on someone, Rory, pick on someone your own age. I did not like that at all. And I think that they're all just bitter.
It's also to assume that Rory's like never placed a huge wager on anything. I mean, these guys all have life-changing, absurd generational wealth. They're all doing ridiculous shit with their money. What's the difference between that and spending like $1 million on the dumbest painting of all time that's hanging in your house above your couch? Like, none of that shit matters to me. It's like they're doing whatever they want. Riggs went to Big Cedar Lodge with his money. Phil Mickelson wants to place a $110,000 wager on the St. Louis fucking Cardinals. Like, what's the big deal? I don't know.
I have this argument all the time with Emma. She's like, I'm going to buy a bag or whatever. And it's like, well, at least with my money, like with my bet, there's theoretically a chance that I actually make money on it. You know what I mean? Right. I'm not just pissing it down the drain.
I will agree that betting on the sport that you're involved in is generally not a great idea.
It's like definitely not a great idea, but like if it's your own team, it's so much.
But you're opening. I get it. You're just opening it. Like you might as well say don't do it at all, as opposed to, well, if you're betting on, like, think about it. If you're a manager and you bet on your own baseball team, you might use the bullpen a little differently than you would if you weren't betting on.
Yeah, to lose. But if they add
even to win
in sport. Well, then that's great. I mean, yeah, like, you just have more incentive to just win. You're going to use your bullpen.
Well, he's saying versus like saving it for the rest of the season. You go all
right. I'm saying you're focused. You're focused on that as opposed to like the greater good of the team.
You might blow the team is a W, my man. Like, we're just trying to get some wins in the column.
I'm saying you might blow out a guy's arm because you're like, I got $2,000 on this game.
But if that's going to get the win, like, then you probably should have blown out the guy's arm to get the win in the first place. That's a weird argument to me. You got to win the game. I think that if they added that to sports, imagine knowing that like a starting pitcher placed like a $50,000 wager on himself to win the game, and they put that up on the screen. You're like, holy shit, this guy is like throwing his weekly salary in the MLB on this game because he hates the team he's facing against. And he's like, I think I'm going to dominate you guys today. And then when they lose, like, they interview him after and they're like, you just lost like $50,000 on that. He's like, fuck, I know. Like, I just didn't have it today.
And it happens.
That would be incredible.
It happens sometimes in sports with like bonuses, and it's really cool, right? Where it's like, if this guy gets a catch, he gets another $500,000,
and they play so much better.
Yeah, and then like Brady throws him like 2 balls in a row in the fourth quarter to get, I don't remember who this was, to get him, 50 catches and he got 500 grand. They're all going crazy. ESPN is showing it. It's really not that different.
It's so true.
No,
that's such a great point.
Direct in boxing too, isn't it? Pretty direct in boxing. Like you win X amount of the prize pool if you win versus losing.
Yeah.
Like it's a massive.
Dana White gives out bonuses for big knockouts. He's like, if you knock this guy out, like there's basically style points. So they definitely.
They'll also take deals and be like, I'll take X amount of dollars as a fee to show up, but then I'm also going to take like 80% of it if I win. Like they'll take like a huge chunk and bet on themselves. Essentially, they're taking their future payment and saying, I want more if I win, as opposed to splitting 50-50.
Yeah, I guess you just can't have people betting against themselves and a bet against their team, because you do have that.
Yeah,
that's like that betting on unders
corrupt.
And shit.
That's horrible.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And like point shaving and that kind of stuff when you're not betting necessarily on just the overall result, but like by certain points or bets, like then it gets really dicey where people can fuck up millions of dollars in lines because they're on one side or the other.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying it opens the door. It's cleaner when you're like, just don't do it. Because if you like, obviously what you guys are saying, I get, like if you bet on, I'm going to win this game, you are more incentivized to win the game. But then people are just going to be like, I hate this team. Our team sucks. I'm betting against them. And that's not what you want.
Yeah, but I agree. I think this show pretty much was like, I don't really have that much of an issue with the Phil stuff at all. It's like, and also people do some really bad stuff in the world, and if his biggest thing is that he wagers his own money on sports,
that's
like,
what I
who
can't
gives
get
a flying
over, man.
Right, it's not like his kids
shafted. It's like you're bad with your money, and I don't want that anymore. It's like, all right, man, you my financial advisor? I don't understand. Like, what if I'm placing the bet to like be on the street one day? Like, that's the bet that I'm placing.
Listen, I don't agree with the angle that the media took, but I'm glad they made it a story because it's interesting. The fact that
it's interesting.
Like I would prefer to know about that than not know about it.
Oh, that's just chaos, though. It's like I hate that that's like the thing. It's like we can't pry anything else out of you, so we're going to go into this. It's just like, I don't know. It all just stems from the live stuff and his decision to go after PGA Tour, and probably because he was an asshole to these media people his entire life. 100%. He's like, look at these dorks writing about me all the time and be super mean and an asshole to them, and then they're gonna be like, we have the pen and paper, dude. We can paint you in any picture we want.
Well, I also think though, like it's interesting and compelling to people because 95% of people are out there grinding on their budgets, grinding on making sure that they've put away in this. And then they're like, this guy was wagering 110 grand on 15 different games at a time. Like, what a ballsy fucking guy. And like, I just think that that's going to be really compelling to people. And like hearing that you're so cocky that you're going to put almost $500,000 on your team to win the Ryder Cup. Like that shit is compelling, but it does stem from like the media people that are old school journalists that have been around with Phil forever that like don't like him or thinking he's an asshole that are going to try to kind of bury him. And I think that we all kind of have the same take of like, sure, he's not perfect and he's flawed. He's made some mistakes and done some asshole things, it sounds like, but like he's fucking 50 something years old. He's been around the block for a long time. Of course he's done some dumb shit. We've all done some dumb shit or crazy shit or whatever the hell it might be. So I think we're kind of all on that. I do see why it's compelling. Like him texting his bookie being like, I've got 40 different bets on fucking baseball games today. Like that's, he's an aggressive wild man. And that also comes through in his golf. Like
it's also perception.
He's like betting and hitting fucking crazy shots.
It's also perception of the person. That's really what it all stems down to. However people feel about that guy. Dave Portnoy tweets out that he like bet 250 grand against Ohio State in like a big, college football game. And everyone's like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But if it comes out that Phil Mickelson did, they'd be like, this guy needs help. And Dave will be like, under the tweet, he'll be like, I'm rich and you're not. Don't do this if you don't want to. Like if I lose this, it does not matter. So, I mean, it's just it's a way it's a way of going about it. It's a way of the way the world perceives you. But Phil Mickelson, for some reason, behind the keyboards and behind the pen and paper, he's made those relationships really, really bad. I don't know what he's done to these people that has made them all think he's an asshole, but in the public all like is literally singing happy birthday to him at every single US Open. And he comes to the Bethpage Black and people are crying. He gives the thumbs up. Like he was my favorite golfer aside from Tiger forever. I used to fucking love going to Bethpage and seeing Phil give me the thumbs up and just like, the lefty swinging it out there. So yeah, interesting shit.
I would say he gained more fans than lost fans in this whole thing.
It was a net positive for sure. Net
100%. the media, that's the thing. Like each individual person gets to form their own opinion on everything. And this is no different, where the media can try to say like, well, Billy Walters is trying to sell books. That's what he's trying to do. But everyone else can be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like that guy he's gambling. He's doing his thing. Like I guarantee that was most people's takeaway from that story.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it also adds to the legend, right? That's like legendary that he's kind of doing in a lot of people's minds.
You're looking at four Tiger Woods fans. These guys we love a flawed individual. I don't want a perfect guy one way or the other. A flawed is way more interesting than the alternative, which the alternative does not exist, by the way. Everybody's flawed.
All right, so Riggsy Boy right here is going to show you these Hyperlight Drift sneakers from our friends at Peter Millar, the official outfitter of the USGA.
These are the most comfortable thing in history. They're like chill airport, they're great airport shoes. They're great like go out, after maybe to the 19th hole shoes, go out after work, get yourself a beer shoes. These are great.
The Drift features a breathable performance knit upper as well as a padded tongue and a soft sock liner for an easy slip-on style and incredible all-day comfort. You just saw them with Riggsy Boy holding them up. They look like whenever I search for a shoe on the internet, that's the exact shoe that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
A nice, white, clean, classy shoe that's not like too much. It doesn't look too big on your feet. It's just perfectly surrounding your foot, and everyone that sees you is gonna be like, that's a really, really good shoe. That's just a great
That's what
shoe.
it is. It's one of those shoes where when people see you, they say, what is that? Because you don't see them everywhere, but when people do see it, they're like, what is that? I'm going to get myself a pair.
These are called the Hyperlight Drift sneakers, Peter Millar. So make sure you go and check that out at petermillar.com to explore the Hyperlight Drift and the rest of Peter Millar footwear line. Telling you right now, you're not going to regret it. You can easily throw these in the washing machine as well for easy cleaning. I know people get a little bit nervous with white shoes, but these can go right in the washing machine. The official outfitter of the USGA, petermillar.com. Explore the Hyperlight Drift. The Hyperlight Drift sneaker, and the rest of Peter Millar's footwear line.
We talked a lot about the Ryder Cup. We're wearing Ryder Cup merch. Lucas Glover wins back-to-back. He's vaulted from just a hilarious, not even close to relevant, really, position. He didn't play in any of the 4 major championships this year, which, like, it's not impossible to get into these for these guys at this level. He's won the U.S. Open before. Wins back-to-back out of the clouds, is now 16th in the Ryder Cup standings. And by all accounts, there's a lot of that goes into picking players in terms of the style of the course, in terms of, do we think they've got kind of that match play bulldog mentality? One of the key factors is who's playing the hottest. You need kind of the guy. I think it was the Billy Horschel kind of rule from a decade or so ago, where Billy Horschel was like not picked, not playing, not thinking he should have been picked. People weren't thinking he should be picked, whatever. And then it was too late, and he won back-to-back events and won the FedEx Cup playoffs and wasn't on the actual Ryder Cup team. Lucas Glover, at this point, I was hearing him talk about it last night. He said, obviously, I think I should be a pick. I don't know how you don't pick one. I can't even imagine not picking.
I don't think he's getting a pick. I think it's basically done. I think it's the top 10 in the standings right now.
He just won back-to-back tournament.
I'm aware.
How could you not?
I just don't think. I think Zach Johnson's going chalk. I think he's going with the top 10 in the standings. So the kind of fringe guys are Cam Young, Morikawa. I think he goes JT, Ricky Fowler. I just think Lucas Glover, there's a high delta. Yes, he's playing really well right now. He's played really bad. I don't know, that putting, that long putter, I don't know if I want that, having to make putts in the Ryder Cup. I think he's got to win again this week to make the team. I really do.
If he wins 3 in a row, it's unprecedented, and it's a guy that's packing his bags to Rome for sure. Yeah. I do think there's way too many outliers in the team already to not pick we've been talking about for weeks. There are Ryder Cup guys, regardless of how you're playing. I'll always stand by that. JT is a Ryder Cup guy. You throw in the Harmons and the Wyndham Clarks. Like, these are guys that don't usually make that mix. And if you throw in a Lucas Glover, I think the team becomes way too out of control when it comes to, you're leaving a lot of guys that are Ryder Cup guys that have won for this country, and they've played against the European team, and they have dominated them, and they have won matches, and you're just leaving those guys off. I just think that the outliers of this year, it's just a different team this year because of the way it's kind of, strung out. And I think that you I don't know, man. I don't know if you could put Lucas Glover in there. To me, he'd be sweating his assholes all over the place. It's just, It's too much. It's too much for Rome right now. It's hot over there, 110 degrees. It's too much. It's too much for me to handle. I can't have all these guys in there. I need my team, man.
You need some normalcy. They fucked them up last time.
You need some names in there, man. We need some names. You're not going to... Who else are you going to leave? Like, are we leaving I don't know. Bryson's on in there. You guys shot 58. It's like, what are we talking about?
This is not the way you should pick a Ryder Cup team, but I don't want my mom to turn on the TV and be like, who is Lucas Glover and who is Brian Harman? Like, who are these people? I agree. I like having the pedigree of the names. Like, and I don't know. I don't Lucas Glover's playing great. He won two events in a row, but I don't know, man.
I know
Lucas
he deserves
Glover,
it. He deserves
I know that
it.
too. Yeah.
But he doesn't deserve it because he's not that name. He's Lucas Glover and the other guy's Justin Thomas. Somehow, some way over their careers, one guy's become one guy and the other guy's become the other. That's like what you deserve. You know what I mean? Like JT deserves to be in there because he's Justin fucking Thomas. Sorry.
But you do want to go with the hot hand? Hot hands are important.
We got enough hot hands.
But when
Brian Harman.
When they changed the rules from, I think it used to only be 2 captains picks, and then it was 4, and then it was 6. Yeah. So it used to be like who's had the best year, and it was basically a point system about when they made that change to 6 guys, it was for this reason, I think. It was so that the captain could say, sorry, Lucas Glover, you're playing great. I know you're playing great, but I'm going to go with Colin Morikawa instead. So I think that's what's going to happen.
I would say if he goes out and shoots like 80 for the rest of the next 2 events, then I could. If he goes out and continues to play really well, I just don't know how you can take the guy that's like playing the best. I mean, he's beaten everybody the last couple of weeks and be like, nope, you're just not on the team. That would be crazy to me. Now, I also still think JT should be on that team. I think like if you're going to kind of put some guys in a bucket of like these are Ryder Cup guys that just kind of need to be there, I think JT's at the top of that list. And I don't know, even with like Morikawa and like Keegan, where it's like, well, they're playing a little bit better. It's like, well, if we're already choosing at this point that like these are captain's picks that like we need a Ryder Cup guy in there, I think JT has to be in there. So I still 100% believe that. I just like, it'd be one thing if Lucas Glover had a couple top 5 finishes. He's playing pretty well. He fucking won back to back.
Yeah,
are you picking Lucas Glover over Ricky Fowler?
Potentially. I mean,
are you picking him over Colin Morikawa or Cameron Young?
So if I'm looking at the standings right now,
I think 1 through 10 are locks.
In the points list standings, you've got Lucas Glover is 16th, JT is 14th, Ricky's 13th, Sam Burns like 12th. So my point of all that is like those guys are, I'm almost putting them in the same bucket in terms of like how many points they've acquired. And then you pick the hot hand.
So you're going with the top 10 plus spot. JT and plus Lucas Glover. That's your team.
I mean, the guys won back to back. It's tough. It's really tough. But it's like
tough.
Every 2 years, Riggs finds himself in some weird Ryder Cup situation.
Yeah.
Last time he was rooting for the Europeans, and this time he's going to die on the hill of Lucas Glover.
No, I don't think he'd be. I don't think this would shake up that many feathers.
A week and a half ago.
This wouldn't shake that many feathers. People are calling for this guy to make it, but everyone that's calling for him is also the ones that are telling me to go kill myself every time I say Justin Thomas should make the team. There's like this weird Twitter bot sphere that like is only going based off of who deserves it based off how they've played today. And they do not take into account their careers, their pedigree, their like what they do in the locker room, what they've done for the Ryder Cup team literally just a couple of years ago. So yeah, I don't know. I can't put him. I'm not signing my name next to Lucas Glover. There's no.
And how you handle pressure. I mean, the Wyndham Championship is, a good event. It's not something crazy. FedEx, and then this is another topic, which I'll go on. Memphis is dead. I mean, that tournament is just 110 degrees. Like, there's not a lot of fans out there. I don't know what they're doing in Memphis. I don't know why they're still there. They're sweating out of their assholes. And the Ryder Cup is a completely different sport. I mean, I honestly think that, like, Tony Finau, I would pick Tony Finau over Lucas Glover for the Ryder Cup team. Even like, who's going to instill more fear in the Europeans? Like, the Europeans would love Lucas Glover to make this team, which is a kind of a metric in a way.
I don't know. But it's not a boxing match. It's not like you don't look like you're not standing there being like, oh, I'm so afraid of like Tony Finau. Like, it's a fucking golf like these. Who's playing the best?
He's rolling in putts right now. He's a problem. Lucas Glover's a problem.
I think he could use the sweaty asshole to his advantage.
He was sweating out of his dick, too. He was sweating everywhere, man. The front, the back. I'd really never seen anything like that.
Dude, the other thing is, remember, like we gotta also take ourselves back to Paris when I saw people were playing the Italy course, like last week. I saw somebody posted and like they're setting it up just like Paris. It's going to be fucking brutal, rough, and like narrow. And remember, like Bryson and Phil hitting it off the planet in Paris the whole time, and like us just getting steamrolled by. It was like the Fleetwood and back before Francesco Molinari was murdered by Tiger Woods. Like they were just killing our entire team by doing that. So like the Brian Harmons and like the guys just hitting it straight are gonna be like really good, I think, in the Ryder Cup.
Harmon's making it for sure. Good. Harmon's on the team for sure.
Yeah. But I'm saying I think he's gonna be really good, not just make it. And we're like, oh, we got to deal with Harmon. I think he's gonna be like sick.
Yeah, like Webb was the best player that week for the U.S. Webb and JT, right?
JT. Yeah, I mean, look, there's like 5 names for the last 2 spots or so, right? And that's just we're gonna debate that forever. And the thing that's going to continue to hurt JT is that he's not, he doesn't even get to play or make a case. It's over for him.
But it kind of finished in a good way.
Winning tournaments and JT's at home. Well, no, because like if JT were playing these last couple of weeks, like he would have not lost. Like he's a lock to lose ground to Lucas Glover the last couple of weeks because Lucas Glover's just out there winning. Whereas like at least JT had a case. He could come out there and play well. He, who knows? Now he can't do anything. He's just sitting at home while other guys are like vaulting into contention for the Ryder Cup.
Zach's picking JT. There's no way he doesn't pick him.
I heard a little rumor. I don't know if it's true that JT played in Zach Johnson's pro-am the Monday after Wyndham. Like, he's doing the right things. He's good. I think he's making the team. I think they're friends. I think he's played this right.
He's got to be on the team.
I think he's on it too. I mean, what do you like? You're right. The golf Twitter bot people that are all about like whoever deserves it, and they just don't think that it ever matters how well you played in the past or how like well you gel with the team and all that. Those people are going to be the biggest Lucas Glover proponents on the planet.
You want to talk about those people? The hole-in-one controversy from last week was it was a cesspool. It was a fucking cesspool. I almost put out a video. I almost put out a fucking State of the Union hole-in-one video. Like Rico Bosco called me. He goes, I got the riders on you. He's got the riders on me. It was a cesspool. I mean, it was crazy. So Riggs, you weren't on this, but basically we had a submission that said, and I could read it to you. Oh, my phone's going to fucking die because I didn't charge this.
I saw a social clip, and then I saw there was a lot of replies to it, and then I checked out.
So right, Riggs, Danny and Riggs weren't here.
The devil's in the details here. Basically, he says, my buddy's not a very good golfer, probably 25, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, they were playing 9 holes. They were playing 18 holes. And on the 10th hole, they saw that the pace was extremely slow, and they just went back to the first 9. So their scorecard, everything, they went there. They purchased a ticket to go play 18 holes. The pace was too slow ahead of them. They went and played the front 9, and the guy got a hole-in-one on the 3rd hole after he played it already in the front 9. And in the details, he's like, the first time he flew one over 25 yards, second time he played around, he went around and took a totally different club, ends up holing it out, hole-in-one. They go crazy. I'm assuming from the way that he wrote it, he was kind of on the argumentative side, being like, well, like we went to go play 18 holes, you played the hole again. So here's where everyone's missing what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a hole-in-one. In this clip, I said it's a hole-in-one. It's just, I said it's worth the debate on if there's an asterisk next to it. I'm not after this point, after reading everyone's responses, I'm not saying that there has to be. I'm saying, can we have the conversation on if you play 18 holes and you're going back and just playing whatever hole you want to? Now, like, does that open up the door to just playing whatever hole you want? Oh, let's go skip to 7. Let's go skip to 3. And let's go. And then you just like get off the golf course. You're telling me that there's no asterisk next to that? It's not a real round of golf? And then everyone's like, I play 9 holes every day. You're going to tell me that's not it? It's like, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah. And didn't the guy also say that he went with an extra club or with one club less because he came up short the first time?
But then everyone's like, so if you play the course every day, does it mean that the second time?
No, but these people are all so black and white.
That's a hole-in-one for me. That's just a hole-in-one.
Yeah, but you're a clean guy. You're about the scorecard, Riggs. Like, what? You're just going to write it underneath, like on the fucking... And I'm saying it is a hole-in-one, but it's just not clean. It's not clean.
It's not clean.
I like that. I like the arguments like, where are you going to put it on the scorecard? You already played those times. There's not enough rows for it. Look,
that's true.
I also think like you're gonna almost any hole-in-one is gonna require a story, and that is definitely part of the story. I think you're absolutely right on that front. But it's like, I would argue back that it's no different than if you played 36 holes in a day and you just played the same course twice and you got the hole in one the second time. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I think it is less different. Club, but we played the course twice.
I think it is different. All right, here's where I really went crazy. So let's say that you four were in a group behind me and I'm playing with my buddies, right? Like I'm in front of you guys are behind me, and or Briggs's friends are behind me and I'm with my friends in front of you. And I say, guys, we're playing for $1,000 today. If someone makes a hole in one in these 18 holes, we will reward that person $1,000, and we're all going in on it. And everyone goes crazy. We go and play.
Big Rob's with us, I assume. He's in your group. Big Rob's in your group. Yeah, dude. Big Rob's brother's the guy that submitted this thing. This guy's always affecting my life.
So we're ahead of you guys. We go on through 9th hole, through the 10th hole, through the 11th hole. You guys are behind us. Something happens. Maybe you guys don't like the way we're playing. And we find out that you guys went and played the front 9 again. And we're on the back 9 and we're grinding it out. And then someone goes crazy. They make a hole in one on 3. We all get to the clubhouse after and we find out that these guys played the front 9 again. We played the full 18. Would you, if you were in my group and you're arguing about if this is a legit hole in one, would you say that that's a clean hole in one, or would there be a discussion over some beers at that table and been like, well, like you played the 3rd hole twice and we had to play holes 12 and 16. Like we didn't get a chance to fucking replay the hole today. That's insane. Just because you just didn't like the pace of play, I have to award you a fucking $1,000 wager here because you got to play the hole twice. Where would you stand on that, Riggs? Because I know where you would stand on that.
Am I going to disagree that there would be a discussion? No, but I think it's a hole in one. I think there's going to be
massive discussion.
Yeah, but not every hole in one has a discussion. You could say, oh, it's the 7th hole. I hit a 7-iron in the hole, and then that's a clean hole in one. Boom.
Agreed. It's not perfectly clean, but it's a hole in one, I would say.
It's worth the debate.
It's definitely worth the debate.
If that guy's on his, if that guy's a grandpa on his porch, he's like 78 years old and he's chatting with his grandkids or getting into golf and they're like, do you have a hole in one? I think the yes or no answer is a yes.
I would also say, and I saw a lot of comments like this and I agree with it, where it was like, it happens so infrequently. It's so rare that, and for this guy, whoever he is, I'm sure he's just a regular weekend hacker. That's so rare that that's going to happen. Like, let him have it. Now, there is a floor to that, and I've made this argument on the show where par 3, like a par 3 course, I don't count. But if you're out there on a regular course, there's got to be crazy mitigating factors for me to take that hole in one away from that regular guy who's just playing on the weekend. So the threshold is pretty high.
I got one at the cradle. Riggs has got one at the cradle. You guys fucking brutalized us. You hung us at the stake. You basically said that we weren't allowed to take that.
We still got scars.
We weren't allowed.
Both of us.
We weren't allowed to fucking take it. And maybe that completely changed my mind on what a hole in one is, because then, like, where does the door open? Where is the line? Where is the line there where it's like, oh, it was an executive course. It had 6 par 3s on the front. It was a 2,500 yard course. All these things like come into factor. All these responses didn't make any sense to me. I wasn't talking about going out there and playing a 9-hole course. I was saying that they went to go play 18. And that clearly there was a discussion and a debate that when this guy went back to the front 9, they were like, isn't that supposed to be bullshit? Like, why did he go back and play the hole again when we all played forward? Like, that's insane to me. So I brought that up. I said, I think that's bullshit. It's not clean. It's not clean. It's worth a debate. I'm not trying to gatekeep hole in ones. Have a hole in one. Go out there and play the par 3 a million times. If you get it in, call it a hole in one. I'm saying this specific thing has to come with a story, and it has to come with a little bit of a dirty story. You got to say, oh, I didn't have the patience to keep playing. I had to go to the front and play it again. My buddies kept playing. It's the same as, like, I don't know, you go out there and you have like an evening stroll and you get a hole in one and the sun's coming down. Wouldn't you feel like, fuck, I wish I got a full round in today. I can only play 6 or 7 holes today. That sucks that I got it on this round. That's what I'm kind of saying.
It's not as clean, but it's still a hole in one, I would say. And like, do you think that guy like wishes he would have just played the back 9, or do you think he's happy with his decision because he ended up with a hole in one?
No, my brain says he wishes he got it in a full round where he could put it on his fucking mantle.
Yeah, I bet he wishes he got it on the 7th hole at Pebble Beach too. But it's like he got a hole in one.
I'm happy for him. It's a hole in one. You wrote a 1 in your scorecard.
You're not happy.
Bro, I'm happy.
You don't sound that happy. You don't sound that happy.
I just want it to be a debate. Everyone's saying it's black and white, clean cut, hole in one. Doesn't matter how many holes you play. You can play 250 holes. I'm saying I understand that.
It's clearly a debate because it got like 18,000 responses. That's a debate.
All negative towards me and Danny.
Now that's a debate, baby. Yeah, it's like, would you consider it not unclean, a dirty hole-in-one, if like you had the honor on the tee on a par 3, but your buddy went first for like pace, and we saw that it was playing way shorter, so then you like clubbed down and got a hole-in-one?
No,
this is such whataboutism.
That was a Twitter bot response. I'm saying that if I played the full 18 holes and we have this match and you go back and play the front 9 again, there's just something weird about that to me. You didn't go there to play a 9-hole golf course. You didn't go to play to have that kind of routing. That's like not what you went out there to do. So I'm arguing on behalf of the guys that were in his group, in his buddies group. They had 2 or 3 foursomes out there. I'm on the other side saying, if I'm sitting at that grill room, we're having a discussion over a beer and some fucking crinkle cut French fries. We're having a discussion being like, why did you do that? Why did you go back to the front? Just play the round of golf. That's all I'm saying. And I'm happy he got a hole-in-one. I'm saying, he wrote a 1 in there. I said that about the cradle.
That's where you're hurting your argument.
Right, because you are making.
But I'm never saying it's not a hole-in-one.
You're getting really close. You're making the argument, and if you want to say it's not a hole-in-one, you can say it.
That's saying part of it is debate. A hole-in-one. Go back and listen to when we played the cradle. I kept asking you guys, what did I write in the scorecard? And you guys had to say 1, and then we would end the podcast every single time. We did that for like a year. Everyone's forgetting that I was on the other side of this for like a year.
It's worth a debate. It's worth a debate.
You guys said it was too short of a hole at the cradle. It's crazy.
It's been a debate.
I stand by that.
Okay, so where's the line, Trent?
Well, I said par 3 courses I don't count. That's
whatever. Some par 3 courses are fucking insane. If you would have gotten one at the top of the rock, you wouldn't have counted it?
No.
185-yard par 3? It's crazy. What's the difference?
Could be 230
so
if it's a par 3 course. You're playing par 3 course.
You're playing par 3s over and over again.
Competitive nature, so the guy playing the par 3 over and over again on the front 9 is not the same thing that I'm saying?
It is. No. I agree with you, Frank.
Oh, so but Trent,
Frank, you're going to end up somehow we're going to end up on the same side of this whole conversation.
Right.
We're getting close.
We are. I thought we were.
What's the difference with what?
Playing like a really long par 3 course, and you're saying that you just played a par 3 before that, but like this guy kept playing the same par 3. In my response to people, like, you could just keep going no matter how many times, and if you get a par 3, if you get up to a par 3 and you get a hole-in-one, it's a hole-in-one regardless. So
no,
I'm saying,
I just think on a par 3 course, you're just playing par 3s over and over again. That doesn't. You're like getting
in a groove. What if you got one on the first hole?
I would still say no. I'm a par 3 course guy. No,
but that reasoning makes no sense. If you're saying that you can't count it because you play par 3s over and over again, what if you got one on the first hole?
No, I'm just saying my line is par 3 courses. That's it.
With no reasoning aside from you just play par 3s a bunch.
Yeah.
So if you play it on the first hole, you have no response to that.
I'm saying it doesn't count. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to not count this guy's par 3?
No, I don't know where your line is at. I'm saying that everyone that's on it's a clean, no doubt hole-in-one side, which is like 99% of the internet, is they have like a reasoning for that, and that's just because it is a hole-in-one. So I'm saying when you have a line apparently that you're drawing that a par 3 course does not count, I want to know what the reasoning behind that is. If this guy's hole-in-one is a clean cut, no doubt about it.
No, I would just prefer that it was on a real golf course.
Okay.
I don't know if that's good enough for you, but that's what it is.
But that's different than what you just said 2 seconds ago, where you're playing par 3s a million times in a row.
I'd say it's both.
Main reasoning. Okay. All right. I just need to know where the line is, because clearly there is one in the hole-in-one community. There has to be one.
I would also say it's just up to the batter. Like if you in your heart of hearts are proud of your hole-in-one and believe it was a hole-in-one, that's all that matters, Frankie.
All right.
I played with a guy, my friend Sam Crisp, the ginger guy from Pinehurst, who got a hole-in-one in the first hole in the cradle.
Did he count it?
Oh, yeah, he counted it.
Sounds like a loser.
He's a winner. I think he celebrated, too, by going and buying one of those golf bags in the pro shop.
True, it is what you feel in your heart of hearts. Born alone, die alone,
There's no
whatever
like official designation of like I have extra
sure
ones,
felt
so
like
now
it.
I can
Sure
go into
feels
this
like
room. But if you don't have a hole-in-one, you have to go into that room.
Sure feels like it. All right, I got to go to Barstool Classic. Before I go, I know you guys are going to do an ad read for this, and these shoes are so sick. I wanted to show them. These are the Peter Millar shoes.
Oh, yeah, those are nice.
These are the most comfortable thing in history. So again, I know you guys are going to.
Those are just like reads. Activewear shoes. Are those golf shoes?
These are so light. Nope, they're like chill,
like tennis
airport.
sneakers.
They're great airport shoes. They're great, go out. after maybe to the 19th hole shoes.
Really nice.
Go out after work, get yourself a beer shoes.
I need a pair of those. I need nice white shoes.
These are nice. So you're going to see me flaunting these today in the Ryder Cup gear, and we're going to go to this Tiger Woods where Tiger Woods won and have ourselves a good time. We got our defending champions, Josh Isner and Brendan Mahoney, are going to be out there.
Very nice.
They have Barstool Classic rule that if you won the Barstool Classic, you get a 2-year exemption into the championship. The caveat is you have to play in one of the qualifiers and not finish dead last in the qualifier. So as long as they finish not dead last today, then they'll be in the championship. So
we had the guys from Toronto. They finished in second in that shootout against Isner. And so they are coming for blood. They made it to the championship. They finished in third in the Toronto stop. So they are ready to go. Those guys are some players. So yeah, it's funny. Like as we were in year 5 of this with the Classic, there's like bad blood amongst like the champions and the people that finish behind them. Like everyone knows who they are and they're coming after them the next year. It's turned into a real thing.
I love that. There was a lot of that in Michigan too when we were up at Grand Traverse, which is a very difficult course. You could tell there's people, people are starting to do the like, hey, we've done 4 years in a row or 5 years in a row and we've done all different stops. Has anyone else done that? And I'm like, yeah, actually, there's like a handful of teams that have done that. So, yeah, we're getting there. But yeah, we're almost done with this season of the Classic. There's only like a handful of stops left. So anyways, we're gonna go to TBC Boston. You guys enjoyed Trottie. I love Trottie. Say hi to him for me, please.
Yep.
Dude, how about in Toronto, the first group that went up there, I did the national anthem. I had to get the fucking...
Which is incredible, by the way.
Thank you. I had to go and get the microphone all the way to the first hole. It was chaos because like once they all get in their cart, they're all at their hole already and the first hole's right there. I had to get the whole system. So I'm playing the music for the first hole. I'm announcing them as I'm walking up. I'm like out of breath. And the first guy hits it right down the middle. The second guy, I put the speaker down. I'm ready to go. I'm playing the Chicago Bulls theme song. And at the top of his swing, the music stops. And he catches his swing and just drops the club and walks away. It was the most impressive thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Tiger Woods, like full on at the most torquing part of his swing, just stopped and then looked at me. He's like, what the fuck was that? I was like, I'm sorry. I did not want to start your day like that. I just iced him. I completely iced him. He steps back up, drains one right down the middle of the fairway, and then ends up winning the thing. They won the Classic at Toronto. He had the long drive and they won.
Yeah, that guy's a beast.
That's legendary.
Yep.
That's a very difficult thing to do.
Yep.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Simply Safe.
Oh.
I have been Simply Safe. I know Riggs has been Simply Safe. Riggs' family's been Simply Safe. We've been using Simply Safe like crazy. I've had it for over a year and a half since I've had my house. It is the home security, 24/7 live guard protection. It's an amazing piece of technology. I've got 4 outdoor cameras, 2 in the backyard, 2 in the front yard. It alerts me every single time someone walks by. It alerts me every single time. It even lights up at night. So like in some of the parts like around the backside of the house, if you walk by it, it lights up. You can see the ground. It can perfectly film whoever is inside that area. It's an amazing piece of technology. You have to be safe. That's like the biggest thing.
We've been working with these guys, feels like since the beginning of the podcast. So people have been staying Simply Safe thanks to us and thanks to Simply Safe for almost a decade now. So they are the trusted name in staying safe.
Simply Safe professional monitoring agents can now warn intruders that they are being recorded, and police are now on their way in real time, stopping them in their tracks, which is an amazing feature. Actually, I was in the backyard the other day cleaning up some stuff, and Hannah went into the Simply Safe microphone and said something, and I almost had a heart attack. I legitimately didn't know where it was coming from, and it was right above my head. She's like, why are you doing that? I was like, whoa, I jumped. And I still haven't even recovered from it. My heart's still pounding. So 24/7 live guard protection is made possible by the new Smart Alarm wireless indoor camera available with the Fast Protect monitoring plan. 24/7 live guard protection and the new Smart Alarm indoor camera work seamlessly as part of the entire Simply Safe security system to keep your whole entire home safe from break-ins, fires, floods, and more. Right now, Foreplay listeners will get a special 20% off any Simply Safe system when you sign up for a free month trial of Fast Protect monitoring. This special offer is for a limited time only. So right now, visit simplysafe.com/foreplay. That's simplysafe.com simplysafe.com/foreplay. 20% off any SimpliSafe system. You have to sign up for a free month trial of Fast Protect monitoring. That's simplysafe.com/foreplay. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Holy shit. All right, so we're joined by Trottie Golf. I mean, you are just the greatest person that ever comes on our airwaves. Every time I see your face, every time I hear your voice, it makes me happier. I'm a better person for knowing you. Trottie, how are you doing? You look fantastic with your Max Homa-ass mustache. You look amazing.
Frankie, you're just the best, mate. I mean, it's always awesome to speak to you, lads. It's always brilliant. You're looking fine yourselves. Trent, I see you've gone for the standard issue outfit, as always. I love to see that. And Frankie, getting a little patriotic early, are we, man?
Yeah, you know, we got to start repping. It's almost go time. We did a lot of Ryder Cup talk today. I'm sure you have some, opinions. Obviously, you're a European guy, so I'd love to see what you think about where the U.S. team stands before we get into all this tailor-made new equipment talk. We've been talking about, the Brian Harmons of the world. We obviously got Lucas Glover just shot up the rankings. Where do you stand? Would you like to see the U.S. play as a fan of Team Europe? Would you like to see the U.S. put in a guy like Lucas Glover because he's hot? Or do you like the fact that we have these names like the JTs and the Ricky Fowlers and all these guys that we want in? I want names in.
Lucas Glover's one of the nicest blokes on tour. I don't know how well you guys know him, but if he makes it and gets in that team, I am stoked for Lucas Glover. So
there you go.
If I'm a European player standing on the first tee playing him, and that's why I'm not a player, I would be worried about it because the guy is a flat-out flusher. And now, obviously, he's figured out the flat stick. It's a concern. And then Brian Harmon, I mean, I think I was the only person that in sort of my circle I was rooting for him from day one. I mean, obviously, I'm not the tallest bloke myself, so we have a little bit in common there, but boys, he comes into that Georgia Bulldog thing. He is the epitome of that, the absolute epitome. Like, for me as a European, I don't totally understand that. And then, obviously, you guys get all fired up about college. It is what it is. And then as a Bulldog, I mean, what are you talking about? But that guy is a Bulldog and gets it done. And then, obviously, at Hoylake, where I grew up as well, the boys back home were like, Brian Harmon. I was like, guys, you have no clue. He's the best champion you could ask for. He's a top boy, held his own. And by the way, that gets him a Ryder Cup spot, and that's a problem, a real problem.
There's something about those Bulldogs, man. The Kisners and the Harmons, they're like 5'3", but they act like they're 7'1". They've just got that mentality where it's like, fuck you, I'm going to win this tournament. Like, that was Harmon's big thing, was he heard people chirping from the crowd like, this guy's not going to win it. And he's like, I'm going to win it. And then he did. It's
similar
pretty
to an actual Bulldog.
So, Trent, I mean, it's basically, how did you feel for that week when you were 14 years old and you were 5'3"? I mean, you were there for about a week, weren't you? And you were invincible. I obviously never got past 5'3". I feel invincible even now.
I don't even think I saw 5'3". I think I came out 5'5".
Exactly. Frankie's all fired up for this today. I mean, what's going on, buddy? Usually you're half.
Well, we just got into a whole hole-in-one debate that, the Twitter told me to basically go fuck myself. And it's just, at the end of the day, I get all hot and bothered. I'm all red in the face. Yeah, we got in a huge hole-in-one debate. And Twitter just really, really gave it to me, Trottie. The internet gives and it takes, and it's a fun place, and it's the worst place on the earth sometimes.
Well, fired up Frankie's fantastic. I mean, this is still going to be the best podcast. I don't have to do anything. I have to bring any energy because
we love your energy, Trottie. I tried to get you going about the Ryder Cup. You were so nice. You're saying that you love Harmon, you love Glover. I thought maybe I'd get some screw those guys. But
boys, I've been here too long, haven't I? That's the problem.
Yeah.
And all this jargon, I don't even know who's playing for the Euros. It's all over the place. And then we got all these Danish lads coming in. I mean, hopefully they do. But I mean, they make great bacon. So if they get that going, it's going to be a hell of a Ryder Cup morning. Then that'll be awesome.
Speaking of bacon, I just got a flat top. I got a Blackstone grill yesterday, and I cannot wait. The first thing I'm going to make is bacon. I heard bacon on that thing is outrageous. Just a nice flat top.
You're going to crispy that bacon, right?
Oh my God.
Some people eat bacon, and it's not. They're like, it's hard.
They wrap it around their finger.
I'm like, what you do? My dog's going nuts, guys. Got to let me in.
That's all right.
Okay. Trottie, when I order bacon, I'll tell them I want you to go back there and burn it to a point where you all have a discussion that you can't bring that out of the kitchen to your customer, and then leave it on for another minute. And after that discussion's been had, you leave it.
I trust you on food, mate. I mean, a pizza situation, I'm the best pizza maker in my daughter's eyes in the world, so you want there. I said, it's not me. It's the Borelli recipe. It's not me.
Frankie, you got to start there. Who was the sports announcer who would walk around with a picture of toast in his wallet?
Oh, yeah.
And when he would go to a diner, he would pull it out and be like, this is how I want my toast. You got to start doing that for bacon. Was it Jim Nance? It might have been
incredible.
Nance. That's what you got.
Maybe Al Michaels?
Was it Al Michaels?
Oh, I forget. But that's the move.
Trottie, so I got my hands on these new P790s at the Barstool Classic in Toronto. TaylorMade Canada reps were up there. I couldn't believe the difference in what I felt. Obviously, from looking at them from the outside, it's got that classic TaylorMade P790 look. I'm like, oh, they don't look like they've changed that much. And they say the beauty is on the inside. And I didn't really understand it until I felt a couple of swings. I was flushing some irons off the first tee at Eagles Nest in Toronto, and I looked back and I looked at Rob, our social media guy, and I go, that was different. Talk to us about these new P790s from TaylorMade, because they are incredible pieces of technology.
So yeah, mate. I mean, it's like you've said, beauty's on the inside. You hit the marketing piece, so it's individually mass optimized. All right. So what does that mean? What a load of bullshit was that mean? It means the CG of this golf club is moved individually in each loft. Now, couple that up, which they don't talk about much, there's this sound stabilization bar, which basically means the top edge of the golf club has this sound piece that impacts each and every individual iron that you hit. So not only do you get the launch out of the long iron that you need and want, the CG's moved, so in the scoring irons, when you get to like 7, 8, 9, it's changed to give you the flight and the spin you want, but each one's got this sound bar that then gives you the response and the feel that you need as a player. So we're hitting the visual, the audio, and the kinesthetic in the feel, and you're dialed. Then they've gone accuracy and consistency. So if you do get in a little bit of a flyer lie, now based on controlling the stuff inside of the golf club, it's not going to jump on you and send it into the freaking garden behind the green and you're looking at your caddy. That ain't happening anymore. Now you got control, accuracy, but the main thing is flighted CG, which was in the 770s. Now you got it in the 790s, and that's when you look up and you see the window and it's just coming out there a little higher than what you would think in those long irons. Obviously, then you can play them stronger lofted if you want. Now, some of the people listening to this are like, that's why they go forever. No, when you move the loft and you have those characteristics, you still get the launch and you get the spin that you need. So if you're a decent player, you can game the long irons for sure. Like Colin Morikawa played the long iron in the Open because he just wanted to get one hunting down those hard fairways, and it was dream come true. You know, performed for him. Obviously, he didn't play well there, but those golf courses where you got to keep it under the wind as a good player or hit certain yardages, that club gives it you. But again, for the golfer that it's aimed at, individually mass optimized. Everything going on inside, basically, you just got to hit it.
Right. For a golf club that looks relatively, I would assume the outside is almost identical, right? I didn't really notice anything much
There's
from
not
the
much
outside.
difference. It's very hard to tell. I mean, obviously, I think they've perfected that category, haven't they, TaylorMade, making these things look sick, but have a lot of stuff going on inside. So it's not like, you know, looking down at a melted welly. It's decent.
When I hit the 4-iron, I never in a million years, I don't know if it was like placebo effect or whatever, because I knew what the technology was inside, but it felt so good and launched so high and went forever. And now what you're telling me about those flyer lies and like with an 8 or a 7, sometimes like one of my complaints about a P790 would be sometimes that like you have that lie in the rough, it's kind of teed up and you're just launching these things and you have no idea, you have no control over those, and it just ruins a round sometimes. You're like, no way is that ball OB. And it was like, I feel like I didn't make that mistake with the swing. I didn't make that mistake with the decision. Just something changed from this impact from the last. And the fact that they've dialed that in, it makes it the best golf club you can possibly purchase. I mean, I've been playing way better golf. You guys did not move me into the 770. You didn't move me into anything else. You've kept me in the 790s at TaylorMade. And I thought that there was a reason for that. Maybe I'm missing the center of the club face. Maybe I need a little bit more forgiveness. I don't know what it is. I can't get rid of them. They are so good. They feel so good. I know the yardages now. I'm obsessed. And the fact that they got better is insane.
They hit a wide range of players. So it's a player's distance iron category. It's a forged hollow body construction. It's got the speed foam air in there. Again, all things as a golfer you don't need to worry about, but you do need to try them. The only thing I would say is when you get to a level, so you're teetering on it now, you are opening up the 770 area if you want. But now that they've put these individually mass optimized and they've changed that CG location, the serious conversation is someone talking as strongly as you are about the 790. As a fitter, you wouldn't bother going 770. You're like, the guy's stoked. Whereas in the past, there was something the 770 gave you that was quite different, and you might have gone there. Now, I mean, again, you sound happy, so it's like, no, the guy's hitting it good. All we've done is added control and accuracy into a club that, you know, that's the only thing it really needed, if anything, but it was a gamer before and it's a gamer now. It's good. I'm happy with what the guys have created. Obviously, those first look videos that go out on the internet, they are genuinely the first time I see the clubs. So they do it that way on purpose. I'm not a great actor. So, I mean, that is my response. Look, I work for TaylorMade. I want to say good things about the golf clubs, but trust me, I mean, you boys know me. In the past, I've turned around and said to the guys, these things are shite. But not from the 790s.
How has life been for you, Trottie, recently? I feel like we haven't caught up, like, you know, on a personal level. What have you been doing? Have you traveled at all? What have you been doing?
It's an interesting one. There's a lot going on. I've been hanging out at the Kingdom a lot. The Greg Manley, the guy that runs it there, has made me very welcome. So I've been involved a bit more with consumer stuff and hanging out back there, fitting the odd guy that comes in, a lot of celebs, a lot of camera stuff. First look videos like you see him, which pivots nicely to, I know Mill Grind 4 came out. I'm keen to talk about that. I don't want to rush this along, but keen to get on it. But no, I've been on home games, which has been good. I did travel a little bit. I was set to go to Chicago this week, didn't make it. I've been out east on a couple of trips, but all just business stuff. Nothing that sexy, but just stuff for TaylorMade that's been, you know, we're working on a few cool things, and it's great to see them. Sadly, I can't tell you too much yet, but obviously things go.
Little tease, little Trottie tease is what we call that.
Well, yeah, and if I start saying it, then everyone will be like, "Oh, what the fuck you said?" But you know, you just got to keep an eye out. I mean, having said that, Scotty Scheffler played one of these new products that we've got coming last week. So it's he played a prototype version of a putter that we're working on. I know I can tease about that one, which has it's a Spider technology with a forward CG that he was playing. We've gone there before. His one was a prototype version. He fell in love with that true path on the top, which is that white line, which I always talk to you lads about that. And I'm quite passionate about that because I was involved in that project, and it focuses the eye for alignment. I know when you guys play, it's fun, it's jovial, as it should be. But our eyes, if they're fucked up on alcohol, then yeah, they get off a bit. But also if we get tired on the round of golf, they get off. Scheffler's now endorsing this. He's into it, and he loves that alignment piece on top. So it's great when you see stuff that connects there and further down in the amateur ranks. And yeah, I've been a bit involved in that too. So there's been a lot going on. Again, I just can't say a ton. But
I love it. I love a tease. Tease me all day. Hey, real quick, when you talk about putting in the alignment, I want to get I just went to do another Fixing Frankie episode with Dr. Brett McCabe, and he was talking to me about a little bit of process when it comes to putting and where my mind should be. And then he gave me a pointer that obviously he's not like a technical golf coach or anything like that, but he gave me something that he had picked up by being on tour a lot. Was when he looked at the golf ball, he said, find a dimple on there when you're putting. Do you do that, or do you just look at the ball? It really got me thinking about, what do I actually look at when I'm standing over the ball? And I never thought about it. I guess I just look at the general area down by my feet. But now I was focusing in on a dimple, and I was actually striking the ball in the center of the club face.
You know, Fleetwood does a lot of stuff like that. You should talk to him about that when you see him next, because he obviously has the picks on top, and he gets focused on stuff like that. I have in the past looked at a dimple. I don't currently. I only do that if I'm in a fairway bunker. I don't know if anyone's told you about that thing, but if you're in a fairway trap, this would be a good one for you, Trent, and you tighten your grip. So say you got 160 yards. And you're going to hit whatever club you hit 160 yards. Frankie with his new 790s, he's going with wedge. But most normal humans are hitting a little more than that. But if you grip it, most blokes grip it lower down. There's no need. If you grip it tighter, all the muscles in your arms shorten then. So then you lift the arc of the golf club where it's going to connect the stand. You lift it because you've tightened your muscles. So now you've raised it already. Then if you focus on a dimple on top of the ball, that ensures that you don't chunk the crap out of it by hitting too low into the sand. And you should make your normal swing. And providing you got enough loft to carry the lip.
Looking at dimples. I like that.
Boys, I've been hanging out with this guy and he's an engineer, so it's a lot. You got to be on it. And he's been talking about time and motion and clubs, how they swing through time and putting. Trent's already like, no, not for me.
I'm in.
Is this Dr. Strange you've been hanging out with?
It feels like it. He's a good dude, and he's like a little bit older, so he sort of doesn't really give a fuck anymore, which is brilliant. So I can ask him, and he'll tell me exactly what he thinks. And it's all about, like, we figured out that I can't read certain putts, but it's certain directions. And then he's talking about how the putter moves through time. And that thing that you were saying about the dimple, I think what that guy's trying to do, he's trying to get you out of where you're analyzing your mind and just into like being an artist. Because if you can get somewhere that just triggers you to go, like my missus, I took her to play golf yesterday, and she's obviously new to it, pretty new to it. She only toys around every 1 to 6 months, taking forever to hit the shot. So I get her on the shot clock. I'm like, right, you can have one look and then go. And then she's like, well, I'll walk off then. She's like, where are you going? I said, well, you've had one look. No, that's your shot clock. You're done. Like, well, what else are you thinking about? Nothing's going to change. The target's not moved. The ball's not moved. Get going. And then my daughter was there too. Same deal. And they're both bitching at me. And I'm like, no, guys, you're on a shot clock. I was on the third. They were still on the first.
That's amazing. That's what he said. He said it wasn't. It had nothing to do with like me actually coming through the ball. It was the fact that I was looking at my target, looking down, then looking at my target, looking down, doing a couple of waggles and putting. He goes, find a dimple, and he says, find the dimple and say go in your brain, or 100%. Putt. He said, just say putt and just putt. And I was just hitting it and just like go. And the lag putting from 25 feet, I was just getting it into that circle. I wasn't thinking. I was just being an athlete. And I was just like, I know where this goes if I hit it at this pace.
Did you see Wyndham Clark on that chip shot he had down the last few holes, and his bagman said to him, be an athlete? I mean, how good was that?
Amazing.
How good was that? Did you see Wyndham Clark when he won that US Open just hitting cuts? Even though the hole required a draw, he would only allow himself to hit the cuts. See, I'm such a dick that I'll stand there, and if the designer wants you to play the hole with a little baby draw, I'm standing there with a club that I can't draw, with a move I can't draw, trying to draw it because I think that's the way it's going. I mean, the guy's just won the US Open. Beat Rory McIlroy down the stretch, who was pumping it, and he's just be an athlete, be what you can be. It's like the pickleball stuff when I watch you boys play that. Everyone and every man and their dog loves pickleball. You can play. I've still yet to play it, which I'm proud of, but whatever. Like, pick it up and you play it, I'll be able to play easy. But if you think about it, when we go into it, we don't know the technique involved, and you just go, yeah, pickleball. If you did that with your golf game, it's like when you take kids out to play and they just ball out because they're just playing the game. Yeah. We get lost in not playing the game, which again, tying it back into equipment, 790, all the hoo-ha and the voodoo that I talked about has gone inside the club. If you now put the same swing on it as you were before, you get better results. Golf's just been made easier.
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the golf capital of the world, and was recently voted America's favorite buddies trip destination. If you are looking for a good time golf trip where you have to leave all the memories that will last a lifetime in Myrtle Beach, that's your spot. Myrtle Beach is the spot with over 70 golf courses, ranging from high-end top 100s to wide-open player-friendly courses, perfect for a laid-back round of golf or a buddies trip with maybe not the best golfers in the group. They've got everything that you need. Whatever your budget is, Myrtle Beach has everything that you need. Off-course activities, bars, restaurants, nightlife. There's no golf destination like it in the world. It's amazing. We love it. We've been there. I think the World Amateurs there coming up in the next couple of weeks. Yep. I know that Danny Rapp is going to be playing in that. I know that Hannah Cook is going to be playing in that. So they've got everything going on. It's the golf capital of the world. That's just what you need to know. We are a golf podcast. We do like to do a lot of golfing stuff. This is the golf capital of the world.
Riggs talked about it on this show about how, like, the things that you like to do, you should do them, and one of them is a golf trip with your buddies. Like, if you've been thinking about doing it and haven't done it yet, start something. Start a tradition. Start an annual golf trip to Myrtle Beach. Go there with your buddies. Get a trophy, get uniforms. If you're thinking about doing it, and do it at Myrtle Beach.
And we're doing an amazing giveaway with Play Golf Myrtle Beach. We are giving away a trip for you and 3 buddies. So all you have to do is visit www.foreplaymyrtlebeach.com to enter to win a 3-day, 3-round golf trip to Myrtle Beach. That's foreplaymyrtlebeach.com to enter to win a 3-day, 3-round golf trip to Myrtle Beach. And if you want to go to playgolfmyrtlebeach.com, they have all the info on golf packages, courses, hotels, and things to do in one convenient place. And if you're the person that's organizing that trip, that you're eligible for a free stay and play. So that should be pretty cool. If you want to be the organizer of your group, make sure you go to playgolfmyrtlebeach.com and learn all the things about that package. So foreplaymyrtlebeach.com, enter to win a 3-day, 3-round golf trip to Myrtle Beach. We love Myrtle Beach. You talked about Rory McIlroy, Scottish Open. He had these new wedges in hand, won the damn thing with them. These mill grind 4s. I saw these as well. I was nipping them around at the Barstool Classic. That face, that you got to talk to us about the technology in these MG4. These are, it almost burnt my hand off, that face. I mean, they got so many etchings and all that lasering. It's incredible.
Frankie, first look videos. I swear to God, Trent, you got to get on these things too. These are, and I want this on the official quote list, the best TaylorMade club I have picked up in the last 5 to 8 years without a doubt. I am not a wedgeman. I don't love wedges. I don't get horny about wedges. Some people in the golf industry get so fired up about wedges. Oh, the grind. It's a wedge. You know, you're in the shit, you got to hit your wedge. Boys, this thing.
So what makes it that much better? I mean, your face is insane. You're like you're
getting fired up. You're getting horny about these wedges.
Yeah, you're getting all horned up. What was the difference? Because I thought the MG3s were great. I thought the high toes are. What's so great? Look, you're shaking your head. What's so good about these?
It's just a fucking joke. They're a joke. So what's gone into it? And again, I'm going to talk about it because I mentioned that. I gave him a hard time last time, and I didn't mention him when we sat at the Kingdom. That Grant Horvath came back to the Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
And TaylorMade, the marketing lads are scrambling, trying to get him these wedges, and these wedges turn up. I ain't even got these wedges. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, you got to be a YouTube guy to get these freaking wedges now, whatever. And I'm starting to like Grant. He's a good lad. He's got some good banter, and he's a nice player. And I watch him hit these little nip wedges to the sort of 60-yard pin, and it comes down, it lands, and it goes, zoom. And of course, he gives it the YouTube reaction, and he's like, whoa. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, here we go again. Like, chill out, Grant. Whatever. And he hits another one, and it goes, zoom, zoom. And I'm looking at it going, Jesus, he's better than me. Like, that's what was going through my mind. I'm like, is he that much better than me? So then he goes to me, yeah, have a shot, Trottie. And I'm like, all right, Grant. So he's this colossal human. So I grab his wedge off him, and I've hit the first one like an arsehole. Cured it a bit heavy. Gets near the flag, but chunks up and runs. He gives it the YouTube reaction. I'm like, ain't seen nothing yet here, Grant. Hang on a minute. Zip one, and I catch it, and it goes, dunk, 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 zip. And I look at this wedge, and even I'm now like, shit. Now.
You're starting to give YouTube reactions?
You can see that my YouTube reaction is ready to rock. And I'm like, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. Handing back the wedge, I'm like, chill out, chill out. The next day, I do the Mill Grind 4 first look on this thing. And I've just done the 791. I was into it. I like the 790s. It's not my genre, but I like them, and I totally get it. If you're a handicap golfer that needs that iron, or you want to play the 2 or the 3 iron, yeah, we start doing this thing. And the guys were like, Trottie, we've got to move on to the next segment of this. No way. There's no way. And these wedges were built in my spec, and then Steve behind the camera grabs the wedge. I said, get off it. He said, what do you mean? I went, that's going in my bag. I said, you ain't hitting my wedges. Get off it. Threw it in my bag straight away. I'm the only one hitting these wedges because these things are a joke. They've got these grooves on them. They're calling them spin treads. They're at this 45-degree angle. I swear to God, when you take the sticker off and you put your finger on the thing, you can literally chafe the freaking...
I felt like I burned the face of my thumb. It's
a joke.
I never felt anything like it. They are so grabby.
So then you start hitting them, and you're like, why do they feel good? So then I went to see Greg Cesario, whose dad was a wooden club builder, like won all these awards in America for building wooden clubs, sadly passed away now. Cedar played on the PGA Tour, and Cedar's obviously pretty switched on about golf clubs. He's one of those wedge guys who just geeks out on it. And I started chatting to him, and the shaping's changed. So the belly of the wedge, the leading edge isn't as straight. So when you open the wedge, it doesn't look as aggressive. It's not like pushy. That's one thing. Okay, well, we've seen that before. The back flow shape has changed. Okay. But I was like trying to get into, what is it? What is it, Cedar? Tell me. And then eventually he like, well, we've got more mass here. And he holds up between the leading edge and the back flange of this club. There's more weight behind the back, behind the ball. And then I pull up an MG3 and I look at them next to each other and it's like a poor relation. And I just looked at him and I went, how have we not freaking done this? So, like, why have I been using this shit? And now you get, what are you doing? It's just like, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. Talks about Rory McIlroy and Bay Hill and how they start. I was like, Bay Hill? That was in March. How have I not seen this until now? That's why I'm pissed. And we start talking about, but mate, the feel and the flight as a result of where he's got that mass, it's a joke. It's a joke. And then the ones I've got this beautiful raw finish on them. And it's like, they're just pure. They are mint. And I'm now like chipping all the time, practicing with chipping again. I just want to hit the wedges. These are jokes.
Yeah, you've turned into a horned up wedge guy. You don't even know it, but you're in. You're fully deep into this. It's erotic wedge porn now.
Yeah, and then of course they've got the sole on it, which is that mill grind thing that TaylorMade do, which basically means you haven't now got to spend 45 minutes at the grind wheel just inhaling crap off the bottom of this thing. People think grinding wedges is cool, but I'm telling you, sit there with the goggles on, goggles are all charred up, you can't really see it. You're just getting caked in shit, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I mean, the wedge looks cool when you finish, but now it's all done for you, so that's great.
It's an amazing piece of technology. I'm telling you guys, this is you could tell when Trottie is just going through an ad or he's really just kind of like going through the motions, and when something really just strikes him. And you know, these MG4s, the fact that you told us we had to get to them, that's proper. Special.
Honestly, they are proper. I mean, I keep us on this. It's a wedge. So there's tour boys using them. Rory was frothing about them since Bay Hill. Colin Morikawa has just got into them. We're talking like trickier than your mother-in-law, boys. And he's it. He's playing a light swing weight in the lob wedge. That doesn't make sense. He's gone to D2. Essie was telling me like he feels like that's the balance point, and he's gone for a light head. And he was saying that Colin can now feel the head a lot more in the lob wedge, which is interesting because most of us would play a slightly heavier swing weight. Don't be intimidated by that. It just means the balance point. Because the shaft is shorter, the head is a bit heavier, we can feel it a bit more. But he's gone the other way, which doesn't surprise me because he's switched on. I mean, he's smart cookie he is when it comes to golf equipment. So, but he's tricky. I mean, he's tricky and he knows he's tricky. I've told him he's tricky, so I'm saying nothing new here. But it's good that he's tricky. It's just challenging. You know what I mean? But boys, if he's in him, that's a big one because he's tough.
We're approaching seeing you. I'm assuming that we're all going to be down there, right, for this fall. I mean, it's like the yearly annual see Trottie and see all the TaylorMade guys. I'm excited for that. Was it November this year?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'll be there for sure. November's what I'm hearing. Usual Thanksgiving week somewhere in Florida, so it'll be a good crack.
It's gonna be great. Love seeing you down there. Trying to think of what else. We haven't talked to you in forever. I don't want it to just be equipment talk.
I know, mate. Well, listen, I've been keeping up I saw that beautiful tee shot off the last Trent for the break 90.
Well, when you guys were talking about look at a dimple, don't spend too much time over it.
That's why
I was the antithesis of that. I was over it for 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah, and then I just topped it 15 feet. So we're still trying to slay that dragon, but I almost had it that time.
But it's there. I mean,
yeah.
It's there, and your wingman, bless him, the guy was living it with you. Frankie was living it with you.
I'm gonna put him in an early grave with that series. He's out there living and dying, more dying recently. But yeah, no, it's something I got to do. But I am close.
What are the stats saying? You have to be tracking the stats.
Putting.
Where's the problems?
Putting.
Yeah, man. I don't have the stats in front of me, Alex. If you can pull those up, my phone just died, which is insane. But.
So what was on putting though, Trent? I mean, what is left to right is right? You've just heard a bunch of stuff said today about looking at dimples and jazz like that. You got to be fixing that.
I know. I just 3-putt all the time. It just feels like it happens more often than not.
So we need like a legit practice routine for Trent that he can actually progress like at certain things with like a fun sort of practice routine. You know what I mean? I think we need like a process. So we need, because just going out there and trying to accomplish it's really, really hard.
If you go out on tour, all they do is calibrate. They calibrate start line to line. Look, I get it. I actually love practicing putting. So as some people get horny about wedges, I like practicing putting. But you just need a calibrated drill that gets your start line to what the read is. Once you get that, you can't control anything else because the pace is the pace. I mean, you can figure out the pace. Obviously, the hole, if you think about it, there's not one way to make a putt. There's friggin' 70 ways to make a putt. You almost got to cut the hole into chunks of pizza, different avenues of which you can make a left to right or a right to left based on speed. But if you're not starting the ball on the intended line, you're screwed.
I also should think about that drill that you had us do where you're blindfolded and you walk. Like I never, like I always leave putt short. I'm rarely going past the hole. So that's a big problem of mine too. And I always leave myself with way too much on the second one.
So tour average is short as well. So you're not in the minority there. So then what you got to do is start embracing beyond the hole. But also then equipment-wise, firmer insert, deeper CG, maybe less loft on your putter, couple of things there to help you get the energy transferred into the golf ball. But mate, you've got to come up with something that is start lines. I guarantee you it'll be chalk lines or get like a simple stroke down, which is a over the top line that you can put in the green. And you might feel a bit of a douche, but mate, you'll shoot 85 in no time.
Because everything else feels great. The driver, it's amazing how much easier the game is when the drive is in play. When it's not just in the rough, when it's down there 235 yards in the fairway. Now you just have an easier way to go. And the irons are great. The stealths, I fucking love those irons. The wedges have been good. Essie sending me those new wedges that you guys were talking about, which I'm thrilled about. It's just I got to clean up the putting, and I legit think I'll be mid-80s in no time.
Yeah. I saw you fanning around with grips. Did you go more tapes, less tapes?
I think I'm still the same. I think it's what it was before. Yeah,
I'm switching to those Z grip, the cord Z grips. I felt those on the new 790s, and I just loved them. I don't know, something about. I have the multi compound ones. I've used those forever, but something about that Z grip just felt really, really good. What do you use?
I'm on the original Tall Velvets, like the OGs. I mean, your boy Dan would need the Z grip, the sweatiest man on earth.
I know. I'm a big grip guy too, but I don't sweat through my asshole like he does.
Him and Lucas Glover are the two sweatiest guys in the world.
Big Z grip guys, they gotta be.
I don't know what it is. I've even playing baseball when I was growing up. I had the stickiest grip that anyone on the team had. I just needed it. Maybe it's just my pathetic grip, and I don't really have muscles or forearm muscles, or I don't have strong hands. You'd think I'd be better. I play the drums. I have to hold wooden sticks all the time. You think I'd be better at like actually grabbing shit, but I can't.
You grip those things up or what?
Oh, I grip these nice. Yeah, these are fine.
Woohoo!
Come on,
showing off.
Speaking of playing music, we're playing music at Dave's Pizza Fest. I feel like that's something that you would fancy, Trottie.
Love it.
Dave's doing that Pizza Fest. It's in September 23rd in Coney Island, where the Coney Island obviously famous for like the Nathan's hot dogs and all the rides there. And he's going right on the baseball field where the Cyclones play, the Brooklyn Cyclones, and we have like 40 plus of the best pizza places in the world, well, in America, coming to this Pizza Fest. The fact that he's pulled this off, I mean, I'll be stunned at how this is pulled off. I mean, you've got old school 100-year-old pizza places coming in with these crazy ovens that they're ordering so that they can be mobile. And you're talking about places that have 2 to 3 hour lines just to get in. And when you go to this Pizza Fest, they're all going to be there just for the taking. It's going to be incredible.
How many people are you going to have at it?
So Borelli's is going to be there. They told my dad to be prepared to make over 5,000 slices for the day.
Wow.
So that'll be quite the fest.
I'm down if it's a spot coming.
Yeah. Trottie, you are such a pizza connoisseur that I would love to have you there. I'll sneak you in with the band. You'll be our band guy. You can just come in with you look like you could be a roadie. You could come in with like the holding the cymbals or something. You're in, then you're eating pizza the rest of the day. You're in. I already just got you a ticket.
I've been hanging out with a lot of music guys, and some of these boys are good at golf. Really good.
Yeah.
Some of them. I mean, obviously, all they do is play music, chill out, and then play golf. And it's been that's the sort of circle I've been in. Since the US Open came to LA, I was up there a bit, and then started meeting all these guys in the music industry. And it's been I've been working on a lot of stuff with that. So that's cool. They're good cats, good golfers.
Oh yeah, totally different vibe on the course.
Any big names that you can mention?
Not yet. You gotta just stay calm there.
All right, now I'm getting excited.
I'm excited too. I like them. They're good guys. And I'm into music with these boys. I'm more into golf. And these guys love it because I'm not talking music all day with them.
Yeah. God, we're gonna have to find out who that is. But Trottie, this has been great. Obviously, love talking to you. Love seeing you. Can't wait to see you in Florida. Hopefully, we see you for the Pizza Fest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, follow Trottie on YouTube.
And doesn't disappoint, boys. Sorry I wasn't more sort of motivated about Europe. We got to get our team organized. Rosie's got to get in there, and then we'll see how we go.
I'm sure you will be I think U.S. is going to have their hands full, and I'm sure that Europe's going to jump out to a nice early lead because it's going to smack these guys in the face with all this controversy on who's going to make the team and what's the vibe going to be like in the locker room. That first day is going to be a tough one to really overcome. I think it's going to be – I hate when there's this much discussion and there's so much controversy about it, because if it puts way too much pressure on the guys that deserve to actually be there. It's like when you're talking about who's going to make the team and all that, like we need the guys that are going to be our horses to just play well and not have to worry about who the 12th guy in the team is going to be.
Well, we talked about it before.
We need Scotty Scheffler to be a killer out there.
A lot of it is setup. Every time, depending on where you're at, the setup is going to be in the favor of wherever you are. So that's something they're going to have to deal with. Once they pick the team and whoever's on it, they got to be able to play the golf course, and it's not going to be whistling. I'll tell you that much.
No.
So I don't know if like where we're at on this, we talk about it, but obviously the selections of Bryson and the live stuff and all that. Is that
interesting?
Surely you got to just have the best guys play it, right? That's what the Ryder Cup is. That's what bothers me a bit about Garcia and stuff. Can he be a pick? He'd be a great pick, but I don't know where they're at with that. I haven't followed it enough.
Yeah, so I fall on the stance of I believe that if you are, I take multiple things into account. How are you playing recently? And then how have you played for the Ryder Cup team in past? I know that turns it into a boys club and all these captain picks end up being the same guys. But if you're Justin Thomas and you're 16-4 in Ryder Cup and President's Cup match play history, and you're an absolute murderer on the golf course, I understand you're missing cuts. You're not in the playoffs, but that has to also fall into a massive bucket of why you're supposed to be on the team. You can't just dismiss that because you're missing cuts and because you're going OB on one hole, but you're making 7 birdies on the front 9, and you just can't get things going because you have one bad hole, which doesn't even matter in match play because you have a fucking partner out there that can help you. As long as you're making birdies, you're going to win. So I'm falling into all these places where it's like, Bryson, he's performed. The guy drove the first green at Whistling Straits and when turned to the crowd and went crazy, and he held up his driver like he was fucking Harry Potter. It was incredible. So,
there it was.
You almost got through it.
It happened.
I
was waiting for it.
Had to get it done. So yeah, I don't know. I understand that certain guys in their career, you got your Lucas Glovers and you got your Brian Harmons and Wyndham Clark's going to be in there. Yeah, they deserve it. But man, if you just dismiss all of the things that you've done for me in the past, I can't stand by that. I'm not just going to go based off statistics. I can't do that. There's heart involved.
U.S. situation is much tougher to figure out than the European one. The only questionable one in Europe is the Garcia one, but he's boys with Donald, so you gotta think he's in the mix.
I think he's on the team. He's gotta be.
And then obviously Rory and him have kind of made up now or whatever, so he's gotta be. That was all a Ryder Cup thing. It has to be. And then if that happens, I like where we're at more. And we're gonna need the Westwood and the Poulter and the Stenson. Those boys were drifting out anyway, so there was always going to be new faces for us. And these lads coming in for us, they've played that golf course. They know, they just don't know Ryder Cups. So, we'll have 3 or 4 new guys, but the truth is we're going to have them anyway. I think as long as we have Garcia, it's a big, big thing. I really do.
There we go. We're starting to get some wheeze out of it. You're starting to get into this. We need this. We need that.
Freaking jacket. I've looked at it for 30 minutes. I'm getting fired up now. I need to stop finding some.
Wait till you see this one, right?
Oh, there's some crazy ones. They're awesome.
This one will be just at the PGA.
Is this the flag one?
Yeah. This is
the flag one. I threw the flag one in my apartment the other day. I was like, this is great.
Oh my God. Sweet. Right, I got to get it figured out. I'm going to get it sorted.
Amazing.
Oh
shit.
Trottie, you're the best, man.
I gotta go get lunch. What the hell am I gonna eat today is the question. Pizza. Exactly right. Trottie, we love having you on. We'll see you soon. Stay in touch. Follow Trottie, obviously, on Instagram, everywhere he's at, on YouTube. Watch all of his first reaction videos. So when he gets these new clubs, they're incredible. He is one of a kind. He's going to tell you how it is.
MG4.
Go watch that video so that he just basically told you. Is that out already or has it not come out?
It's out tomorrow, I think. So
Perfect.
I think it's tomorrow.
So today. So go on. It's going to be on TaylorMade YouTube, and make sure you go and check it out.
Freaking honestly, guys, just get your wallets ready because it is a joke. A joke.
Amazing. Absolutely sold.
Boys, I love what you're doing. Keep it going.
Love you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Trottie.
Awesome. Cheers, lads. Take it easy.